Hey everyone, Bunzo here. Before we start the show, I just wanted to let you know that there will be a little bit of keyboard clicking in the background, so I'm sorry about that. I tried to remove them, but I couldn't, unfortunately, so I'm sorry about that. Enjoy the show. Bye-bye.
What's up, everybody? It's your pals Boonzo and Juice of No Continues, and of course, we are not alone today. We are joined by our very special guest, Rogan. If you are on TikTok at all, especially the gaming side, you have most definitely seen our special guest on your For You page, or maybe you've caught some of his live streams on YouTube and Twitch talking about all things indie games, and we are super excited to have him here. Rogan, thanks so much for doing this with us, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me. That's awesome.
We
It's
we
it's
really
it's
appreciate
still
it.
it's still a crazy thing to think that like I'm just like on people's For You pages.
It's true, it's
Yeah.
true.
So,
It is a
yeah.
weird feeling.
Well, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, we really appreciate it,
Yeah.
man. You just came back from Japan as well, right? How was that trip, man?
It was crazy, man. It was so we did my wife and I did kind of like a late honeymoon. We got
Yeah.
married in September of
Mhm.
last year, and we were kind of like we don't really want to like be planning a big honeymoon as we're planning this this
Yeah.
wedding at the same time. So we took a little bit of time, and then yeah, it just kind of like crept up on us, and obviously we did like a lot of planning and that sort of thing. But yeah, it was a life-changing trip. We went for 17 days.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah, and obviously, like at the start and the end, those are kind of like travel days. So we wanted to make
Yeah.
sure we had like two
Mm.
full weeks there, and yeah, it was great. We went to Tokyo, Osaka, and Kyoto, and just ate great food,
Yeah, I
pretty
get
much.
great food, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations on your marriage, honestly.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you,
Yeah,
thank you,
congratulations.
thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a
it
big
was
thing
great.
with my wife and I. We got married just a couple months apart, you and I.
Yeah,
Um, and because it was June, we didn't want to plan anything. It was nice here, so we didn't want to do anything. So we're obviously going to take a late trip. I think a lot of people are doing that more. And I know Ben and I feel the same. Japan is definitely on our top of our list
Yeah,
for traveling.
it is,
I just
yes.
had a coworker go there last year, and yeah, he just said it was unreal. He felt like he was somewhere like completely not of this world. Like
Mm.
that's
yeah,
how it is when you're traveling, obviously. But he was just like he couldn't believe how he said it was so beautiful, and it was just such a
yeah,
great experience. So
yeah,
um
for sure. And the people are so nice, and like
yeah, I
they
heard that
Yeah.
too.
yeah, everybody takes their craft like so seriously. It's like
Yeah.
people who are like whether you're like making food or doing any other profession, like they're just so dialed
Mm.
into it, and it's so cool to see it. It's such a culture built on respect and just like yeah, really caring about what you do. It's a very inspiring place to go to. I feel rejuvenated coming back.
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. Have
Yeah.
you visited a little bit of the countryside or just the main cities so far?
So, we visited, yeah, so our main places were
Mm.
Tokyo, Osaka,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
Kyoto, but we did kind of like day trips outside of the city. We went to when we were in Kyoto, we went outside and we went to a place called Nara,
Oh.
and that's where I don't know if you've seen. There's like so many clips on TikTok and stuff like that where people are going to this place. It's like a big park where all these like wild deer are walking around,
Oh,
and you can
yeah.
buy these little crackers
Mm.
for the deer, and they'll walk up to you and they'll like
Yeah.
bow to you,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
you'll like give the deer a cracker, and then they get a little bit greedy and then
yeah. Of
start
course.
kind of chasing
Of
you,
course.
which is crazy, but it's a really cool place. Like the park that it's in is
Yeah.
beautiful, so it's nice to get out of the cities can get pretty like they're densely populated,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, it's nice to get out of there for a little bit and take a little bit break.
Yeah. And I think whenever you go to Japan, you can do your entire trip on in the cities. Like there's
Yeah,
enough things to do. There's always new stuff to do in Japan. So and it's cool to visit. Personally,
yeah.
I want to live in Japan in the future. I really want to like
Nice.
yeah. So I want to like find a little house in the countryside near Tokyo or near a big city and just start doing more content creation there, but we'll see in the future, we'll see.
That'd be a beautiful life,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, it's living
It's
the
that's
life, yeah.
yeah. Well, when you go, like, it's also like you go to Japan, or at least our
Mm,
experience was this way. We did I think the trip that a lot of people do,
yeah.
like the Tokyo, Osaka, are kind of the places that people go to, especially on their first trip to
Yeah.
Japan. But you get there and then you learn about so many different places that you could go to. And
Yeah.
it's so cool that it's such a small country that has like an endless number of places
Yeah.
to go visit. So we're gonna go
Yeah.
back at some point.
Of
for
course,
sure.
of course. That's where.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it. So it's one of my favorite places of all time. You know, it's just where
Yeah.
I don't know. It looks cool to go. Yeah. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah. It always seems like such a neat place. And it's not just for like, obviously we're talking about video games today, but it's
Mm.
not just that, you know, like I'm very much into the Peanuts. I have a
Mm.
ton of comics. I have a ton of collectibles,
Yeah.
like more than gaming, which is crazy. And there's like specific like Snoopy cafe there that
Yeah.
has always like intrigued me. And all these cafes that have like these character to them, like that has always like intrigued me as well. So that's been something that I've really wanted to check out as well. Did you do any cafes?
So we didn't go to any like
Yeah.
off our itinerary,
Yeah.
but like we walked past so many. There were like the Peanuts cafes. We saw a Kirby cafe.
Of course,
That
there's
one
always
would
a
be,
Kirby cafe. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there's like and like the Pokemon cafes
Of course.
obviously are there, and like yeah, it's crazy, man. Like they have all these like sort of character or like fictional world cafes or restaurants or places to go.
Yeah.
It's really cool,
When
especially as a
my
nerd. It's
Yeah,
a nerd paradise.
it's the ultimate
Yeah.
place to be when you're a nerd. Like,
100%. Yeah.
not only with video games, with everything. It's just they perfected everything. They perfected food, pop culture, video games. Just it's so fun to be,
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, such a beautiful place
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, when my coworker went, he said like you had to book a lot of these cafes like in advance,
advance,
because they
really?
can just
Yeah.
be super bumping apparently. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I've heard
Lines
that.
are super long for like
Yeah.
just restaurants in general, but those
Yeah.
places as well. Yeah.
I've heard though there's a lot of pop-up shops for specific games in Japan. Have you seen some
Oh.
on your trip or?
I didn't see any when I was there, but I've heard that same thing.
Yeah.
Like something will be happening one weekend, and
Yeah.
I saw we walked past like this big Star Wars exhibit that
Oh.
was just like
Oh, but it
popping
was Star
up.
Wars celebrations recently.
Yeah,
Like
so
in May, yeah.
maybe it's had something to do with that.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
it was in Japan because I had a client
Mhm.
coming to my store and he was like, he went to Star Wars Celebration, so
yeah.
he was in Japan. So yeah, that's pretty cool, I guess.
Nice, so cool.
It's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, well, gotta make the trip.
Yeah.
Make the trip.
Yeah.
So,
Totally.
well, let's get to the meat of everything. We want to know all things indie games, all things content creation when
Yeah.
it comes to
All
your
of it.
process,
Yeah.
Rogan. So, but let's start at the beginning. I always like to start at the beginning and learn about people's sort of way that they became into gaming or became passionate about gaming. So let's start just for yourself. What were kind of like your early experiences with gaming? Maybe like a first console, first time you played, games, and was there a game in particular or games that made you go, wow, I really enjoy this. This is something that I want to, be a part of, or like a hobby that I really want to get into.
Yeah, I think there's like a lot that I can point to here. I was always a nerdy kid who I loved art and music and sports. And I think when I was growing up, I'm a 93 kid.
Oh,
So
okay.
growing up during that time, I think video games especially were kind of building up to be a perfect combination of
Yeah.
those things. Like you could explore games that were very artistically pleasing, and music was such a big thing, especially in sports games. Like the Tony Hawk games, those soundtracks
yeah.
were like the
Legendary.
soundtrack to my
Legendary.
childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they helped like shape my musical tastes now. Even like the FIFA games and the NHL games
Yeah.
and those things. I don't really play those games now, but like growing up, those are such a big part of like shaping what I like to play.
Especially
now.
here in Canada, especially NHL.
Yeah.
Like it's so big for some, like because
Totally.
we love hockey. I don't specifically, but we love hockey as a country. So yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I'm actually gonna make a video about that pretty
Yeah.
soon. Is just
Nice.
like how music, those like licensed music soundtracks, sort of shaped my musical
Yeah.
taste. But Yeah, like the FIFA games especially. I was kind of like an indie music kid, and those games had so many new indie songs, especially like probably a little bit older, like late 2000s, early
Mm,
2000s. Those soundtracks were always bumping. But going back a little bit, my first game ever was, or that I can remember, was Pokemon Blue. On the, I had my
A
dad came.
classic.
I was at my grandparents' house because my parents were working during the summer. They'd take me to my grandparents' house. Came to pick me up, and he had the teal
Ooh,
Game Boy Color.
yeah.
okay.
And Pokemon Blue. And I can't even remember how old I was, like 4 years
Yeah.
old, maybe. When did that game come out? Like 97
I
ish?
I, I'm pretty sure the American, when it actually came to Canada, it was either 97 or 98. So yeah, it was
it
Yeah.
was
So
right
pretty
four or
like,
five.
it was right before the
Yeah.
Nintendo 64 came out, so maybe like
yeah,
99, 98.
96.
Yeah,
My
maybe.
birth
Okay, yeah.
year. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There you
Somewhere
go.
around there. I like either way, I think I was still too young to actually comprehend what
Yeah.
like the turn-based strategy would
What
be
was a
in a
Pokemon,
Pokemon
you
game.
know? Yeah.
Yeah, like what the hell is this thing? Like what's a, Bulbasaur or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember like just being on the swing set, like enamored with this game. Even though I didn't really know what I was doing, there's something about the interactivity and like the pixel art and all of that that really intrigued me. So that was my first handheld console. And then my first actual console was the PlayStation 1. I remember it had to be fairly close to that time. I got it for Christmas, and I got a Need for Speed game. I don't know exactly which one. It was like a rally kart one. Um, and then the other game, which is probably the game I'd point to as being like the thing that made me fall in love with games, was Toy Story 2 Buzz Lightyear to the Rescue.
Oh, great
Oh,
Ooh,
game. I've played
oh,
that game
such a
so
great
much.
game. Oh my God.
so good. Like, especially being like a movie tie-in, those
Yeah.
games, you're like, sometimes they can be a little bit, um, ca I can't swear or anything like that. I just wanna make
Go
No,
sure.
no,
for it.
yeah, it
Okay.
doesn't matter. You
Yeah.
can do whatever you
Okay,
want.
okay,
It
okay.
doesn't matter.
Sometimes they can be just shit,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
but like this one, it's just like a great 3D platformer. So that, and I have like very fond memories. We were a Toy Story household, so like I think Toy Story 1 was the first movie I ever went to go see in the theaters, and when Toy Story 2 came out, my brother and I were obsessed with it. So this
Yeah.
game, like, it was so funny. You would like play a level, and then the cutscene between the levels were just
So
it was
good.
just like a
Yeah.
scene from the movie, So yeah, that's where it all began. That's where the magic started to happen, man.
Yeah, I love, it's funny. I only played the Buzz Lightyear game, very briefly as a kid. So I played it recently, like probably about a
Oh,
year ago, and it was still really fun. Like something,
yeah.
I love 3D platformers, so it's not that
Mhm.
big of a shock. But I always get really nostalgic for PlayStation 1 slash
Mm.
N64 games. Not because I totally grew up with them, but there's something about those FMVs that are just so
Yeah.
compressed and so just, the sound is crunchy. It just,
Mhm.
I don't know, it just brings back like good memories where you're sitting in front of a CRT,
Yeah.
you got the VCR player going. Sometimes things are a little crinkled if it's an
Yeah.
old VHS tape. So that's, yeah, I can totally relate to that. And especially
Totally.
Tony Hawk, like we love pop punk here. So,
Yeah.
and Offspring, I Superman by Goldfinger.
Oh, so
Love that
good.
song. I love ska. That's such a
Yeah.
90s relic, right? So, yeah, I totally feel that. I know Ben big into the PlayStation 1 as well when it comes to
Yeah.
CRT stuff. So,
Yeah, I own my own CRT. I'm a little bit of a CRT nut, but
Nice.
funny enough
I
though,
love it.
yeah, I've for me I was always a Nintendo kid, so like Tony
yeah.
Hawk's and stuff I've experienced them later in life, and I understand
Mm,
why people fell in love with them because like the music, the gameplay, everything felt just it feels amazing, especially on the CRT.
yeah.
So no, I get how you feel. For me, it was more Pokemon. I think the first game I've ever played was Pokemon Red
Red?
because
Nice.
yeah, we were poor, so we I had the hand down consoles, and yeah, I was playing on a GBA. I didn't understand English at the time because I'm French, so I'm just
Yeah.
I just pressed A and moved on.
Tap
But
an
yeah,
A through
yeah,
everything. Yeah.
legendary game though.
I mean, I know English and
Yeah.
I did that too.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. So no, but when you're a kid, you don't read
Yeah.
that much, that's
Totally.
it's so. And for me, there was a language barrier. That's the thing. As a kid, there was such a big language barrier that most of games that I finished, I didn't even knew the story. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's just.
Do you feel like you learned English through video games to an extent?
Yeah, I learned English pretty quick because
Yeah.
my aunt, they're Italian. My uncle, they're Italian, and I lived with them for a while. So I learned English there. But I was always watching shows in English, watching shows in their
Yeah.
original voices, original
Mhm.
their VA in a way. And I
Yeah.
still to this day I do it. If it's a French game, I'll play it in French. If it's a German game, I'll play it in German. So yeah, video games definitely help me like learn English, and like
Yeah.
TV shows, everything, YouTube. Like
Yeah.
just always listening to English made me learn
Yeah.
English. You mimic how people talk, and it's not perfect,
Nice.
but it does the job. So
Yeah. I think just on what you were saying, Juice, about the crunchiness of the audio and sort of
Yeah.
like how it's kind of like thrown together a little bit. I'm also aligned with you. Like it seems that was such a specific time where like there were so many limitations to what games could be that they just had to
Exactly.
like work with the parameters that were there. And I sort of think that these days, like obviously we're spoiled with so many great games, and I've never
True.
I never really align with the argument that games these days are way worse than games were. Like I just think games are great no matter what, and they just kind
Mhm.
of like, there's good games and bad games from every era, right? But I do think that like nowadays sometimes games aren't as like impressive, or actually don't elicit like like an oppressed reaction from me
Mm.
as much as they did back then, because everything was so new back then, and there were so many limitations for developers to like break and exceed.
Mm.
And now I'm just like, what thing is going to impress me like a game did back then, like
Yeah.
that's the question I ask myself quite
Mm.
often. So I'm with you there.
Yeah, it's obviously before I let Ben take over with his next question, we are definitely at the laws of diminishing return when it comes to video games, I think. So this is obviously a whole tangent, but growing up, when we were growing up, because we are all you're I guess early mid 90s. I was born in the
Mhm.
mid 90s and Ben was born in the late 90s. We're all 90s kids.
Yeah.
We really saw the progression of how game changed and how it evolved, and how a lot of companies, if they were really good, took advantage of their limitations as what they could do, right? And now it feels like, obviously we'll get more into a topic as to what indie developers are doing. It feels like sometimes I think people are very picky in the sense where like, this game looks the same, but as something I saw on PlayStation 4. And the reality is, I think we've almost hit a pinnacle as to how certain games can look.
True.
So we're looking for other outlets. We're looking for
Yeah.
artistic vision. We're looking for music. We're looking for story. I think we're looking for more things. Obviously, graphics will get cleaned up,
Mhm.
but to me, like playing, I know you guys have like really dedicated PCs. I'm mostly a console person, but playing my PlayStation 5 on a 4K 60 frames per second level, it's hard to see things getting even crazier than that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it definitely feels like in the last 5 to 8 years, not that things aren't impressive. Graphically, there are so
Yeah.
many impressive things, but we grew up seeing that evolution, and I think
Yeah.
that's something that's almost special to kids who grew up in the
Yeah.
90s, in my opinion,
Yeah.
at least.
But,
Totally. And like accessibility is such an important thing these
True.
days too, which is great.
Yeah.
Like I love to see that, but it just means that I don't think I think the barrier to entry to something that's like graphically insane, like something that's 8K that comes out in a couple of years or whatever, like who's going to be able to play that? Like
Yeah.
such a
Yeah.
small subsection of
And-
So true.
gamers.
And the eye
So
can't even see 8K, so I don't even see the points. More of a marketing
Yeah,
move than
that's
it's like
anything
a
else.
something, right?
vanity number. Yeah.
Yeah. So, But I have to say something about this. For me, like I know we think we can't see better, but like I remember myself, like in 2002 maybe, watching like playing Super Smash Brothers Melee and not seeing where they could improve because I thought the graphics were
Yeah, so that's true, yeah.
good. So good, I was
Yeah.
like, they can't improve. It's the greatest graphics of all time. So yes, but at the same time, like I get what you're saying by the point where like the jump from PS4 to PS5 was pretty small, and it's still like some PS4 games are
Yeah.
still look better than PS5 games to this day. We're talking about like God of War, Horizon, Gears of
God of
War,
War.
even Gears of War 5 looks absolutely amazing. It looks
So good. It looks
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
yeah, it looks
insane.
better than most games these days. So no, I get what you're
Yeah.
saying. It's just I think maybe our next step is VR, maybe or something like that. We don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, so
Yeah,
Ooh.
I agree. Like people will find like there's so many creative people
Exactly.
that can exceed
Oh,
my
yeah.
expectations and like just like come up with something that I never even thought
Yeah.
was possible. So you're so right. Like it's just creative people do creative shit
yeah,
forever for the rest of time.
for the rest of the time, yeah, hopefully. So the next question is, what is your favorite game of all time? Do you have one?
Yeah,
If you have one, yeah. So,
Yeah, I my favorite game of all time is Mass Effect 2.
oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. The Mass Effect trilogy is my favorite like sci-fi anything, like
Okay.
books, movie, like it's just I love the sprawling adventure and I love the sort of epicness of it all. I love the characters and the writing. And I don't a lot of games will come out and be like your choices really matter and
Mhm.
like this thing is going to snowball into something else and you're going to see the impact of it later on, and I don't think every game that boasts that actually achieves it in
Yeah.
a way that I have seen with the Mass Effect trilogy.
Mm.
Like it's insane to play something like the first Mass Effect and make a big decision and then like sit on it
For the rest of
like
the yeah,
for the rest of the game,
Yeah.
for the rest you don't even hear about it in Mass Effect 2 and then it comes back
Back
in
in
Mass
Mass
Effect
Effect
3 and
3,
you're
yeah.
like, "What? Like how did that even
Yeah.
happen? Like what decision parameters did you have to set for this to actually like work?" It's crazy and the writing is really brilliant. But yeah, it's not an indie game. I think a lot
Yeah.
of people would think my favorite game is an indie game. But yeah, that Mass Effect trilogy will always I don't see how anything
Can peak
will
this.
beat that for
Yeah,
me.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get
And
that.
Mass Effect 2 is like it's it's such an epic story. And I remember when I first picked it up, I hadn't even played Mass Effect 1. I just thought the trailer looked kind of cool and I picked it up and I was just like, okay, I have to go back. So from there I went back to Mass Effect 1, played Mass Effect 2 again, and then Mass Effect 3 came out.
Because to be fair, I've never played those games. So do they work with
Yeah.
save files? Like, do you have to play them on the same system in order to work on multiple games, like the storyline in a way, or like it's just kind of I don't know how it works actually. So
I actually, that's a good question. I think I played all three of them initially on the 360.
okay,
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, all three of them came out on
Okay.
the 360. So it all kind of carried over. And
Yeah.
so like you have your character from the first game, you create them, you have like your class and the points you've attributed, and then you'll like when you start the next game, you just basically import that character
that's
and all the decisions that you had made in
Yeah.
the first game, your build and sort of what you are, it all imports.
Yeah.
And then it sort of like it gives context to the story.
Okay.
So it'll just like call back to moments that were in the first game, and then the third game is the same thing. Yeah, it's crazy.
I actually didn't know that. I really didn't know
Yeah.
that. So it's pretty impressive for a game
Yeah.
like from the 360 era. Like it carries on over 3 games. Like wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
totally.
I've never been into. That's the thing. I've said it before. I've never been like the 360 or the PlayStation kid. I was always a Nintendo kid. So my like, there's a lot of games that I didn't experience at that time, and I starting to re-experience them. I did the Halo series not recently, like
cool.
5 or 10 years ago. I did BioShock, which is one of my favorite games of all time now. So Now you're giving me hype to play Mass Effect. Now I might get
Yeah.
the trilogy on PS5 to try it. Yeah,
Yeah, they have the legendary
yeah,
edition now,
yeah,
and
Mhm.
I actually played that kind of like during the
yeah.
pandemic. And man, it holds up.
It holds
It's
up.
great. There's some epic moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're long,
Yeah.
but it's really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
What are your guys' favorite games?
For
I'll
me,
let Ben go first.
Juice doesn't really like. No, it's not true. But like, for me, my favorite game is Majora's Mask.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Majora's Mask has always been a pillar in my childhood in a way. I don't know how to
Yeah.
explain it, but it's been a game where pretty much it helps you deal with grief in a way.
Mm.
And I've not to get too much in detail, but like, yeah, I had to deal with grief in my childhood a lot, so it
Yeah.
helped me like help me live my grief, live my my face. I don't know how to explain, but it makes it's just an amazing game. It's a game that I will probably never play again because I want to keep that memory alive. The fact that
Oh, yeah.
yeah, like it's just I
awesome.
think everything about this game is amazing. The fact that when like during the time of day the NPC dialogue changes whenever you're at the end, everyone is freaking out. Some people are not, some people are. There's so many things that you can impact during the 3-day cycle that makes it I don't know, I just think it's an amazing game. The music, I love Zelda, I love everything about
Yeah.
it. I know Juice doesn't like the 3-day cycle thing, which
Mm-mm.
Mm.
stresses a lot of
Yeah.
people, which I understand. Like, but as
Yeah.
a kid, like it was always a game that I wanted to finish. And then in my late teens, no, not my early teens, like I was 11, 12 years old, I had a French guide. I think I have it here. I had a French guide because I understood English a little bit, and I did it all the way through at my grandparents' house, and yeah, it's still to
Wow.
this day my favorite game of all time. I just think it's just
That's beautiful.
yeah, yeah. Narratively is one of I don't think a game can peak this game in my opinion, but yeah,
Yeah. That's so special because it's like sometimes games will just come into your life or
Mm.
like anything
Mm.
really, like an album or a book or
Yeah,
whatever, will
Yeah.
just come into your life at the perfectly
yeah,
right time for it to like resonate with you
yeah,
in a way that like if it if you didn't play it at that time or you didn't have this stuff to deal with,
yeah.
maybe it wouldn't have hit that way,
Exactly,
but it did,
it
Yeah.
and that's
did.
just part of its story
Yeah,
for you.
and it
So that's
was the
cool.
perfect. Like it's really weird, but this game was born the same. Like it was. It released on my birthday. So
Oh,
That's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, like
Yeah.
3 years later, but still, like it's
Yeah, yeah.
in the 2000, but still, like it's just I feel a connection to that game, and it's a
Yeah.
game that I'll probably play it again, but it's just every time I play it, I can't. It's weird. I just can't. It's too much, too great of a
Cool.
game. I just want to keep that memory alive, So yeah,
Yeah. Nice.
yeah,
Yeah, I always find like when it comes to like your favorite video
mm,
games, like I'm talking about everybody, it usually has to do with time and place.
yeah,
Mhm.
Like when I like think about like my top 5 games, it all came like from time and
yeah,
place. And like obviously Ben and I talk about Nintendo a lot.
yeah,
So I'm actually surprised at how much Nintendo isn't in my top 5
yeah,
Oh,
of
yeah.
video games. It's actually PlayStation. God of War was one that like 2018 that I was just like
2018,
time and
yeah.
place. I needed the game more than it needed me.
yeah,
Same thing with Spider-Man 2018. I needed the game more than it needed me, especially at the time.
Mhm.
But my favorite game of all time is also a Zelda game. It is The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. More specifically because of also a childhood implication because I felt like I was Link in the story.
mm,
This is like the
Yeah.
youngest Link. He's 10 years old
yeah,
and he essentially is forced into not becoming a man, but essentially forced into becoming an adventurer because his sister is kidnapped by Ganondorf.
yeah.
And I was the oldest sibling. When I got the game, I was about 9 or 10. I'm a little blonde kid. I like to play outside. I like to go
Yeah.
biking. I like to play
You're
with my
Link.
brother.
Yeah, you're a Link.
Exactly. It's hard to not envision
Yeah,
yourself as him on this
Yeah.
adventure, and it has this like really beautiful like feeling to me when I play
mm,
it of like kind of family and like doing what's right and like even if it's not like what your he doesn't want to do it really, like, because
Yeah.
he's a kid. He wants to
But
just be a kid.
he's technically not the chosen one in the game. He's just
No, he's
he
not.
becomes
It's kind
it,
of
but
thrust
he's not.
upon
Yeah,
him, yeah.
which
And
is
the game just has this like beautiful feeling to me
Mm.
as a
Yeah.
kid when I was growing up. Other games now that I've gotten older have more adult meanings,
Yeah.
but that game has
Yeah.
always like resonated with me.
Yeah.
So
Nice. That's
yeah,
one thing I'm
just
so excited for. Sorry to interrupt.
No worries.
The Switch 2.
Yeah.
Wind Waker's blind spot for me for
Oh.
Zelda games.
Yeah.
Such a
I
great
never had a
game.
GameCube, and
Yeah.
I never So like that's one of the things I'm most excited for the Switch 2. Assuming I get one eventually.
Ben and I'm pretty sure we were both GameCube kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing that like we just appreciate, I think, I don't know if I'm speaking for him as well, but easy accessibility to these games to me is really important because
sure.
how expensive GameCube games are. Like if I wanted a copy of Wind Waker and played
Yeah.
it the original way, $100 minimum.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Pokemon
Crazy,
XD
man.
Gale of Darkness,
Yeah.
$200, $300 minimum. These games that
Wow.
I had as a child, I just can't justify that. So I always appreciate accessibility. Now it's like it's a silly thing, but it's something that I'm excited for with this new
Yeah.
console. So
Yeah. Nice.
so
That's
yeah,
cool. Yeah.
kind of like piggybacking off what Ben and what you were saying, I think a common misconception about you is that you only play indie games and you only enjoy indie games, that you don't
Mhm.
like big publishers or AAA. And
Hmm.
the reality is, I know you've addressed it already, like numerous times on your page,
Yeah.
but you do like
Yeah.
AAA, in quotes, games. You do enjoy certain games from big publishers. I think
Yeah.
you're a gamer in general, right? So what is a AAA game maybe that has really impressed you over the past maybe year or two that you really enjoyed? And is there one in the future coming out this year that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, yeah, I think you're right. I think a lot of people like just see that I don't talk about AAA games as
Yeah.
much on my page. I'm trying to change that a little bit. Like I want to talk about all games, obviously still with like the indie focus, but there's so many games that I really want to play. I think up next I really want to play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth because
Ooh.
I thought Remake was one of my favorite games the year that it came out.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that and The Last of Us Part 2 came out in the same year, and like I was eating, like Last of Us
You
Part
were
2.
eating good. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So in terms of like which ones I'm playing right now, I'm playing Expedition 33, and that's not a AAA game,
Yeah,
but
it's
it's
such a
got
weird zone, right? Like,
yeah, it's like it sits in the gray area. Call it double A, call it what
Yeah.
you want, but it's definitely feels triple A. This game,
Mhm.
It
like it's
feels, yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really enjoying that right now. I started Metaphor ReFantazio
Oof.
last year,
Oh
and
my
Ben
god.
that game,
Greatest
yeah,
greatest game of
oh,
all time, and Jesus, this game's good.
it's so good.
It's so good.
And unfortunately, I haven't been able to like actually commit to beating it
Yeah.
so long.
Oh
It's
my
like the
god, yeah.
Persona games.
Yeah.
Like
It's
I've
technically
never beaten the
Persona
Persona.
6, in my opinion.
Yeah,
But
yeah, exactly. So I would love to get back to that eventually. But like, I don't know, Death Stranding is one I'm kind of jumping in and out of, which again sits in a bit of a gray area, I think,
yeah.
for AAAs. But
It's
with the
ki-
next one coming out, like
yeah.
that game looks insane,
Insane.
and like
Yeah,
the
insane.
Kojima is just crazy, and I love it. And then Cyberpunk 2077 is one in recent memory that's
Yeah.
like really stood out to me as like impressive.
Impressive, yeah.
I'm kind of skewing away from big like open world games these days, just because like I don't know, I'm looking for something a bit newer and fresher.
Hmm.
But Cyberpunk 2077 was a game that like did it well and kind of
Yeah.
like brought me back in. It felt like futuristic Skyrim in a few ways.
Yeah, when it comes to like, I don't like to close myself off. If a game just looks fun, I don't care what
Yeah.
it is. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be playing it. I know, like for me, like I know I'm pretty sure you feel the same way, Rogan. Ghost of Yote is something I'm very
Yeah.
excited for.
100%.
Ghost of Tsushima it was so good. I
So
loved
good.
that game. I really liked the story. I just had such a good time with it. Ben, I know, is playing Doom: The Dark Ages, and I need to jump into it as soon as
So
possible when I
good.
move because
So good.
I love Doom. I love blowing stuff up,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
I saw this one complaint online because like all of us as we're content creators, sometimes you come across comments where you're like, okay, this guy decided to write that and put that on the internet.
Yeah.
This one guy was very adamant, like, I just don't like the story of this. I don't and I was like, you just blow stuff up, man. That's the whole point of the game. As long as I'm blowing stuff
There's
up,
no story to
that
Doom
is
that much, you know? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
come on now.
Let
Doom,
me
you're
blow
just
the stuff up. That's what I'm
Yeah.
here for.
Come on now. Like,
Yeah.
I understand people that are like, oh, I like the lore of Doom, but like, there's not really a story. There's a story just for the sake of like making a cohesive game.
I
Like,
want to
that's
kill
it.
more
Rest.
demons.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's so true. Like some games, I don't know. I think it takes like some like real a little bit of critical thinking to just be like, I am a story person. I'm jumping into Doom. Like, am I gonna
Yeah.
get the thing that I like from this? Probably not. Like if
Yeah.
that's it's just the way
That's-
that it goes. So, but Ghosts of Yote is another one, yeah, that I'm really, really looking forward to, just because I think I'm in the Japan mood right now,
Yeah.
just to like coming from Japan. But like Tsushima was another one where like I was getting a bit burnt out on open worlds, and I
Mhm.
was a bit scared that this would be maybe just like Assassin's Creed Japan,
Oh, it
and
just felt it's so
it just really is not. Like
oh,
obviously
So
it
good.
has its sort of tropes and the things that you got to go collect. It's a collectathon in some ways if you want to platinum the game, but yeah, it's just such a fun game and beautiful, like one of the most beautiful PlayStation games in my opinion.
yeah, I think it's to me like one of probably the most beautiful game I've ever played,
Yeah.
especially in those moments where you're doing the haiku poems.
Oh, so good, man.
Yeah.
Holy.
Like
Yeah.
the story is so good. Like
Yeah.
I really want to replay it this time in black and white with just in Japanese. I don't really I
Yes.
want to not do it in English. Going the Ben way, going the Ben route, right? So but yeah, I'm totally with you.
Nice.
There's still some stuff to look forward to for me too. Ben, any AAA games you're looking forward to before you move on?
I'm honestly Metroid Prime 4. I know it's
yeah. Yeah.
looks it just looks
Yeah.
good. It looks like Metroid Prime 1, but I don't mind. A lot of people are complaining online right now because they're like, "Oh, they're doing like, the safe
Oh, it
way,
looks so good.
Oh man, I don't know. It just looks amazing. Donkey Kong Bonanza too. I'm very excited
Oh,
about
yeah.
it.
It's one of my funny monkey games.
Yeah, exactly. Other than that, right now I'm more focused on Nintendo because like Nintendo Switch 2 is coming out, so I just like I got Expedition to 33, 32. I don't remember the name of the game, but like
33.
I got it recently. I haven't played it because I don't have time, but I really want to play it because like it looks like out of this world. Like the graphics,
It's really cool.
the story. All of my friends are saying to me like, "Yo, you should play it. The story is gonna break you." And I'm like, "Oh, all right. I gotta play it, but I just don't have time." So there's that. But no, other than that, I'm honestly waiting for Summer Game Fest for a new announcement because like Summer Game Fest is coming in like a week and a half maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah,
We'll see.
yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, I wanted to ask you actually. I know you mentioned that you're not only playing indie games, but like have you ever? I'm sorry. I'm gonna start back. What really got you into covering indie games? Like, because I really wanted to know because you're really indie game focused in your content creation. I know you want to expand, but like, what really got you to play to cover indie game only technically?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it just like was natural for me. I've always played indie Well, I mean, in my adult life, I've been playing indie games just like through very natural progression. Like I wasn't forcing myself to play these games or anything like that. I think The first one that really got me into indie games was Hotline Miami. When it first came out, I think
So good.
2012. So good, yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's good.
I remember playing that game, and I was a bit skeptical going in just because of the art style and the top down. I was just like, this is an arcade game. Like,
Yeah.
how impactful can this be? Like, I've played games like Halo 3 and like and those games have stuck with me forever. How can a game like this do that? And it did. Like, that game's the most badass game you can play. The soundtrack is insane, and it's just like it puts fun at the forefront. It's just like, how do we just like keep making this
Yeah.
fun? And I think at the time I was kind of I wanted my games to be artsy and like impactful and
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
like intrinsically like affecting.
I get it.
And I was like, yeah, no, games can just be like kind of awesome
Yeah.
and fun, and that's it. And that's what it was. So that's what got me into indie games. And then I don't know, I've been making content for a long time and talking about video games on and off on the
Mm.
internet, like through streams and that sort of thing, which I'll probably get into a little bit later. But in this new sort of like TikTok short form era, I just wasn't seeing a lot of people commit as much time as I was willing to do to indie games. I obviously you see a lot of great content creators, great gaming content creators, sort of like mention them here and there in their videos, but it sort of is more broadly a gaming topic that just like you'll see one video here and there about one of the big ones happening. But for me, I just kind of wanted to like curate lists more and just talk a little bit more, obviously, about bigger indie games. Like I think I tend to talk about indie games that are slightly more popular than ones that like nobody has heard
Yeah. Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
But I try and still kind of like sneak those in there among some of like the big indie games that people really like, and it seems to be working for me right now. So
Right now.
that's great. But I'm just trying to like lean into the things that I like, right?
Huh.
And I think if I like them, then my content's going to be better, and if I can communicate about them in a way that shows excitement for them, then hopefully other people will be excited about it. So I think I'm just leaning into what my natural inclination is, and I think
Mm.
that's indie games.
Okay. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I always find like the tough part too, like when we're talking about content
Mm.
creation, is like, do you, before I move on to sort of a different
Yeah.
point, do you ever feel like you're confined to that, or do
Yeah.
you feel like you're okay to step out of
Yeah.
your
Good.
comfort zone, right? Like, or just a zone that you've built up.
Yeah.
Yeah, content creation is so funny, and I'm sure you guys feel this way. Is like you have a video that does really well, and
The
then
next
you're
one
like
does terrible. Sorry.
just terrible,
Yeah.
and
It happened to me
and then
yesterday in my last video. Just for some reason, nothing.
yeah,
Just nothing. I was
and
like,
it's
"Ah,
like,
okay.
and it's oftentimes just an unanswerable question.
Yeah.
It's just like the algorithm gods just did not bless my
Yeah.
video today, and it just happened to bless the one yesterday. But then sometimes it's like you get into on a roll of doing like some videos that do really well. And for me, there's a thing that happens in my mind where like I'm just gonna ride this wave
Yeah.
and keep
Yeah.
doing videos kind of like this, or keep planning videos like this. And I tend to find that that's when I enjoy it the least.
Yeah.
When I'm just like trying to make a video
Yeah.
do really well. But I trap myself into that mindset. And sometimes I have to like take a look and really like critically think and say like, you're just not enjoying this. Just like do something else.
Yeah.
And so
Mhm.
I think I'm pretty good at breaking out of that cycle, but I definitely get into it,
Yeah.
especially with the indie stuff. Sometimes I have an idea for a video that doesn't really have anything to do with indie games, and I'm like, oh, I can't do this. And
Mm.
then I stop myself and I'm like, Yeah, you can. You can do
Yeah.
whatever the
Yeah.
fuck you
You're
want.
your own
Like,
boss.
like
Yeah.
this is my
Yeah,
channel.
this
Like
is
I can.
yours. Yeah.
I don't have a boss. Like
Yeah.
nobody's telling me. You
Yeah.
know. So I don't. I'm not always the best at it, but I break myself out of that cycle
Yeah.
eventually. When it comes up, it's hard, man.
It
It's a
is hard.
mental
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. Especially my stuff is doing way better on YouTube than on TikTok, and
Yeah.
like sometimes like every 3 or 4 videos, no matter how many content I push, there's a video that's just gonna die. Like it's just not gonna be pushed at all. Like there's gonna be like
hmm
400 views and that's it. For some reason, I every time like it, no, I have to stop myself because every time like "Ugh, my video is probably bad, but I
Yeah.
repost it 2 days later, and then it does like astronomically well. So I'm just like, okay, that's just just the
Yeah.
algorithm being the algorithm, and like yeah, being like I get what you're saying by like sometimes you want to try new ideas and like you stop yourself because like oh it's not my content really, like yeah
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's hard to just push yourself to be like yo who cares, it's your shit, like do whatever you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah, exactly. And then once you break out of that cycle, like who knows? Sometimes I've had moments where I broke out of the cycle and then I did a video that was completely different and it did really well. And I'm like, well, yeah, just try this stuff. So oftentimes it just doesn't do that well, but I've found that each video you post is just another opportunity to learn
Yeah.
Yeah.
about how
Yeah.
this stuff works. And sometimes you just like can't explain it
Yeah.
and you got to move on, which I think I've gotten a little bit better at, like
Yeah.
not dwelling about a video not doing well because I have another one coming
Mm.
up tomorrow.
Yeah. No, it's definitely hard. It's definitely
Yeah, 100%.
Well, we're going to dive more into content creation because we obviously have tons of more questions, but I did still want to dive into some of the indie game stuff, because, you know, indie games have shown us that small teams or even just one person that's just dedicated to the craft of video games, you know, can do so much and make truly great games. What do you find like in your personal experience is what are indie games doing right that maybe AAA games aren't seeing from these small teams? Like, what are they getting right that maybe they're just not connecting with?
Yeah, I think I have a few different answers for this. I think the first thing is the it's kind of the battle between creativity and reactivity. Um, I think a lot of indie games put creativity first. Like indie devs generally, I'm not saying like this happens every single time, but usually like an indie game that blows up is a passion project that has something to say
Yeah.
and is usually done in a really sort of like creative way that maybe takes elements from a bunch of different genres and bunches them together in a way that like you've never seen before or to create some like entirely new mechanic that you're like whoa what the hell is happening here, and it takes a sec to like understand exactly what's going on, but then it becomes like an indie darling afterward. I think Undertale does that with storytelling quite a bit.
Mhm.
I think like Outer Wilds, one of my favorite indie games, it does that with the structure of how it tells the story and the puzzle sort of underneath it all and how the world is built. Like these things for me are breaking molds in the games industry and sort of like breaking trends in a way that sort of like creates something beautiful and new. And AAA games do this as well, but it's a lot more rare.
Yeah.
I think a good example of it is Expedition 33. Like a positive example is like how they're changing turn-based combat, and I think that's
Mhm.
why, and just its story as well. And I think that's why it's resonating so much with people is just because it's doing something a little bit different and it's got like a really cohesive package around it. With a lot of AAA games, like let's take the extraction shooter craze that's happening right now. I just think it's a very reactive thing
Yeah,
for
I feel
companies to
that
do.
big
They
time.
see a thing that's happening with, like, let's say Tarkov, and does it really well, and they're like, how do we take this and just make a whole bunch of money off it? And it's not 1000% like that, but it does seem like sometimes maybe somebody at the top sees the success of this thing and they're like, how do we do this? And I think that can work in different mediums, like a TV show or a movie, because production timelines are these days are relatively shorter. Like they're not that short, but video games just doesn't work in my opinion.
Yeah.
The production timelines are so long, and to be
Yeah.
reactive in this way, like this thing is coming and going, and it's like Fortnite was able to do it like super fast with like the PUBG sort of like getting it into Fortnite, just because I think Fortnite already had that structure and they're like, let's just put this new battle royale mode in here. And it was just like right place, right time,
Mhm.
right circumstances. I think AAA games have to take more of the indie mentality where it's like we have an idea and we're building this not for the sake of like being reactive to this thing that's happening, but maybe like doing something new and just or having an idea and mashing things together and trying something that like maybe hasn't done before, which comes with its own challenges when you're a huge AAA company, and trying something new means millions and millions and millions of dollars and dev time and that sort of thing. But
And yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the same outcome can happen if you're being super reactive. So why not try something that's gonna like
yeah.
change
Mhm.
things? You know,
I think
um,
investors do have a lot of a
hundred
say on
percent.
what games are being pushed out or not. You know, so
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
And so like they see a thing
yeah,
happening and they're like, we're gonna invest in more
yeah,
extraction shooters
yeah,
now, and then they do, and then people they're like, why don't people like this? It's
yeah.
like, well, 5 years ago, maybe they were like new, but
Kind
what do you
yeah,
think? Like we're building this massive
yeah.
game.
Kind of like
So
Concord a little bit, you know. It
Yeah.
was an
yeah,
The hero
Overwatch
shooter.
shooter, like hero
Yeah.
shooter. It came out
yeah,
too late, unfortunately. They were working on it for 8 years, and then they released it. Nobody liked it, and then
yeah,
it died immediately. And they've invested so much money in it, but investors don't see this. They see
yeah,
money. They see the dollar sign.
Yeah.
They're like, oh,
yeah,
this makes money. Fortnite makes money, or Overwatch makes money. Let's do
yeah,
this. You know, which is
yeah. And on top of that, you had to pay $40 for it. Where like
mm,
we're in a world now where
yeah,
this needs to be
everything's
free to
free.
play. It
Yeah.
Yeah.
needs to be free to play for it to be successful. But the game was not built to be free to play. It was a
Mhm.
game built to be purchased,
Hmm.
and then the microtransaction structure of the game was meant for it to like sustain in a
Yeah.
lot of ways. Like I saw a lot of people being like, why don't they just make this free to play? It's like that is not an easy thing to do.
No.
It's like the economy of
Yeah.
the entire thing has
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
change, and the structure of the way the game is built has to be completely altered. Like it's not just a flip of the switch. Like
Yeah.
that game had to be fundamentally changed. It would probably add like 2 years onto dev or like a year onto dev time,
Yeah.
and I guess they just weren't willing to invest in
Yeah.
that. So
And,
yeah,
and maybe the microtransaction became later in development. Maybe it was always
yeah,
meant to be a condensed hero shooter where there's not really microtransactions. Because it's been 8 years since it's been in
yeah,
development.
Yeah.
So, like, 8 years ago, microtransactions were huge, but not as huge as it is today. Now, microtransaction pays for the whole development of the game. That's how they make money. They don't make money
yeah,
of you buying the copy. They make money of you like buying a skin in the game, or like Ubisoft does that with their first person titles, which I think is a little bit stupid, but they're releasing like costumes that you pay with real money, and it's probably making more money than the game itself, you know, which is
yeah,
ridiculous, you know. So yeah, I think
yeah. So, but yeah, and then I also think the scale of projects it needs to be, I don't know, like just kind of like revisited by a lot of
Mhm.
AAA companies. Like
Yeah.
I do think that budgets are like ballooning, and that the time it takes to build these games is like astronomical. Like we're talking about like I don't know what's GTA. I think they're saying like this game has been in development for like 7, 8 years.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
like some of the groundwork was done even before that. That's crazy. And this game is guaranteed to make a lot of money. But what about a game that's not really
Yeah.
that doesn't really have GTA status? It's like
Yeah.
it's kind of tough. Like you're just banking on so much going right when it comes out. So like I would love to see more big companies do smaller games, you know? Like
Yeah.
I would love to see I think Ubisoft did the Prince of Persia game. Was it
So
last year?
Yeah.
the Lost Crown,
Yeah.
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 That's cool. That's awesome. That's like
Yeah.
and like I don't think it ended up going very well for the team,
But
No, sadly.
unfortunately.
But
honestly,
really fun game.
yeah,
I
it's
really
really
liked it.
weird because it did great sales numbers, but it's just not.
Yeah.
Ubisoft expects so much of their consumers. They
Yeah.
think that they're gonna release a game and everyone's gonna buy it, but like Ubisoft right now kind of have like a tainted reputation in a way.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed and Prince of Persia always sells well, but I think it was too niche in order to do like astronomical numbers, like because it sold a
Yeah.
couple millions of copies. I don't know exactly how much it sold, but like so yeah, I think they were, and it was Montpellier too. It was Ubisoft Montpellier. They have like a legendary status, like they've done all the Rayman games, so like I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it was good. I think it was all right. They
Yeah.
should do another one, but
oh, yeah, for
It's
sure.
like and I think one of the reasons it didn't work like is just because maybe Ubisoft isn't built to put a game out like that. Like Ubisoft is everywhere. They're so
Yeah.
big. So like I don't know. I think it's about making sustainable decisions on the game level, but also like understanding that this type of game kind of plays into the wider strategy. I just don't think it really did for Ubisoft, and that's like it was almost like whether it was good or bad, it just was destined to not meet their super high expectations. So that's kind of rough. But I think it would be cool if big AAA companies could explore doing smaller games, and maybe even that helps maybe fund the larger projects that
Yeah.
they can have working concurrently. Like maybe they put out small projects here and there, or the games that they're working on are like graphically and as impressive as they want it to be. It's just a condensed experience, and maybe
Yeah.
they put that out more often. So yeah.
Yeah, and to your point, like back to Claire Obscure, Expedition 33, right? That game's budget, I can't remember if it was like 20 million or something, or some. In comparison to some budgets that we hear of AAA games, it's insane. Like when you hear that Spider-Man 2 costed almost 300 million to make, that is a crazy amount of money. Like
Crazy. Yeah.
we are talking $500 million almost. Like that
Yeah.
is an insane amount of money for a fine game. But I think it's crazy how bad AAA budgets have gone, like you said, and how it's basically out of control.
Yeah.
So like when you see what indie game developers or small teams are able to do with limited resources, it's insane. And like to me, one of the things that I think indie developers do so well and why they're so important is that they're supplying a demand that AAA developers see as not important. Like I love Shovel Knight. I know Ben loves Shovel Knight, and that was like one of these first really big indie games. And to them, they were like, we love 8-bit platformers like DuckTales. There's never really been anything like that.
Yeah.
They make a great game.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
then you get all these expansions and all these things. It's supplying like a demand that people are asking for, but big publishers don't feel that it's important enough to provide that game.
Yeah.
Or something like Axiom Verge, because at the time Nintendo really wasn't doing 2D Metroid
Yeah, it was that.
but now they are, thank God. But
Thank
at the
God.
time they weren't doing 2D Metroid. So Axiom Verge comes along and is basically a sequel to like spiritual successor
Yeah,
to like Game Boy Advance Metroid or
Yeah.
NES Metroid, right? Like, so I find that that's one of the things that I appreciate most about indie developers is that people are asking for these things. Undertale, people want Earthbound so bad, like another
Yeah.
Earthbound thing.
they want Mother
And
3.
the Toby Fox is like, I will give you my version, of
version.
it,
A
right?
version of
Like
it,
that is
yeah.
the thing that I always find that indie games do and
Yeah.
developers do
Mm.
so well is that they are giving things that big companies just don't see as important that people are asking
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
I-
Yeah, totally.
I think too, the lack of money or the lack of funding pushes creativity in an indie game. That's
That
how
too,
I
yeah.
feel. Because like I think when you have 300 employee working on one game and you have 20 employee work or one guy working on a game, it pushes you to work. Like it pushes you to be better in a way, to be more creative, to
Yeah.
appeal to a broader audience in a way, like or make an appeal about your game. Whenever you're just there, because I've talked to a couple of developers in the past and their implication in the game is like usually I the one I've talked to recently, he's doing area design and he did like 3 houses in an Elder Scroll games and he
Yeah.
got paid like I don't know how much money to do this, but you know it's like there's so many people that works on a game that you get lost in the crowd of people that makes the game. You know, it's kind of weird
Yeah.
when you're a smaller team. You know, I don't know. You can push decision more. You can be more creative in a way. So that's what I think. Yeah.
It's so true. Like, and another thing about AAA game development is there's so many people working on these games that it becomes like such a logistical
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
project
Yeah.
at that point. You need project managers, you need people doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like some people might slack a bit, some people
Yeah.
might do a lot more work. You have people like butting heads,
Yeah.
creative meetings. I've worked at games studios for a little while, and like the creativity aspect of it and the decision making on what creative decisions actually happen, it gets to a point where there are too many cooks in the kitchen and it's
Exactly.
just people disagreeing with each
Yeah.
other. And I think that's a lot of in AAA games. Sometimes you see decisions that are made in a game that you're like, why is this here? Or why did this happen?
Exactly.
And sometimes you can probably, it's just like, people probably just didn't agree
Yeah.
on a general direction for this stuff. And then the decision was decided to be like this kind of Frankenstein version, watered down version of what it could have been, or like what somebody else's idea in the room was supposed to be, you
Yeah.
know? Like you never really know what's going on internally, and when the project blows up and there's so many people working on it, it starts to become super hard to manage.
No,
It's insane video games even get made,
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
honest.
yeah.
Like so
Exactly.
many people working on these things,
Yeah.
and they're just like, you have to track so much
So much stuff,
happening,
yeah.
and it's crazy, man.
And for the
Magic.
it's not meant to be like a jab at like not small developers or small devs, you know, but like when you're at the bottom of the food chain, you know, when you're just doing like small coding and stuff, you're not creative, you're just executing in a big company. You're not being heard on what you would like happen in the game, you know. Like that's the thing. It's like when you have like 300 people, it's just you're there to do your job, go home, do your 9 to 5 and go home, you know. So it's not,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's
And and I guess it like changes between the studios. I guess some are better than others, but sometimes it's like I look at a game and I'm like, I wonder what the conversations were behind the scenes, or like what the workflow looked like to get this where it is. Whether that's like it's a great game or a kind of not so great game. It's such an interesting process, and it's such a team effort, you know.
I get it. Did you have anything else to say, Juice, about that? No? Good. I had an interesting question, and I was wondering, because for me, how I play my indie games is on Switch. I really love the Switch. I have the portability of the Switch, but I was wondering, where do you play your indie games? Do you play on PC, consoles? Do you play whenever, like on your phone with the cloud Game Pass thing? Like, where do you play your indie games?
I play mostly these days on my Steam Deck.
Okay.
And then because like this is my work setup,
Yeah.
and I'm finding more and more that I'm like spending a lot of time here, whether that's like for work, and then when I want a game, like I'm coming here and just like I just don't want to spend that much time
All
here.
right. Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
I did, like I used to have my PlayStation 5 here
Mm,
at my desk with my setup. I actually like brought it upstairs because I like playing on the TV
yeah.
more than I do here. So as much as I can like get away from this area these days, I'm cool with that. So I like the portability of the Steam Deck. I haven't been playing my Switch too much lately. I guess I will when I eventually get
Get a
a
Switch
get a
too. Yeah.
Switch too. But yeah, traditionally it was a thing that I played indie
Yeah.
games on the go. But since the Steam Deck, like obviously you
No,
get your whole
I
Steam
get it.
library.
I own a Steam Deck too, and like
Yeah,
I play a lot of Vampire Survivor on it, Binding of Isaac. You
yeah,
know,
nice.
it's just it's so fun to just. It's more bulky,
Yeah,
but it's more powerful too. So like the Switch,
yeah,
some indie games are not required to have a lot of power. But the thing
yeah,
is
exactly.
sometimes you can kind of feel it. So, like
Yeah,
usually when I play on the Switch, it's because I want the portability aspect. But when I
yeah,
have my Steam Deck around, I can just have a more powerful console
yeah,
and have it portably too. It's all gonna change with the Switch 2, of course, because the Switch 2 is
yeah,
super powerful. You know, it's
yeah,
like really it's more powerful than the Steam Deck. So we'll see, but no, I agree with you. Steam Deck is a great way to play indies. Yeah.
yeah,
There's something about the portability factor of the Steam Deck and the Switch that provide like a more intimate feeling I find with indie
Mhm.
games. That's why same thing. I play a lot of my indie games on my Switch, whether I'm at my, you know, my part-time job where there's a lot of downtime and I'm sitting in the back just playing, or even just on the couch. Something about the indie game and the sort of like more intimate feelings just feels better in like a handheld sense.
yeah.
Um, but I do also, unlike you, I like to, my desk currently is also my gaming and content space as well. So I do like having a separate spot. That's why I'm excited to move, because I'm literally having a separate spot for work and a separate spot for gaming, because I need that
Nice.
separation. I'm totally with you. Like,
Yeah,
especially now when you feel like you're sitting at the same desk all the time doing the same thing. I'm totally with you that having a separate spot, whether that be on a TV or literally a different room entirely, that that's definitely how I feel about that when it comes to
yeah,
my gaming now. So
I think my only
yeah.
problem with this is like when I have to record gameplay, I have to be on my computer. So
that too,
Yeah,
yeah, no,
so
I get
that's
totally.
that's
that.
always
From the
the like
content
I'm
perspective.
like like whenever I'm not working, I'm here working on my computer, so I spend like
Yeah,
hours and hours on my computer and I'm like, oh, I need to play a game, for content creation. I'm like, oh, I need to play on my PC, because I need to
yeah,
play,
yeah,
Yeah,
I need to record it. But I don't know. It's just a minor thing,
yeah. I think
yeah,
everyone's different, right? So
totally.
I've so I get it. Well, let's move on just from specifically just the indie gaming side. Let's get to your content process, because obviously
Yeah.
we are all content creators, but we really like your content, and I always like to know about other people's process. So let's start with, when did you start making content, and was this something that you had to teach yourself, or did you already kind of have the tools in place? It was just putting it all together. What was kind of your big start for you?
Yeah, I think so in terms of the technical side of things, I went to school, communication school in Winnipeg. And I learned to do like media production, graphic design, editing, and that sort of thing over there. Um, and that gave me sort of the baseline skills to do it. Um, but on top of that, like this, I guess the soft skills, the like on camera stuff. I was always a theater kid growing up. Like I was doing
Okay, yeah.
musicals and plays and
Yeah.
that sort of thing. Going into university, I was doing theater and film, so acting and getting up on stage. I've done improv and stand up comedy and all of that sort of thing. So I think those really gave me the skills that really matter for it. Where it's just like communicating in front of a camera or an audience. And I think that's maybe the strongest part of my content. I On the editing side of things, I have traditionally got in my own way. Like I can be a little bit perfectionist with the way things look and the pacing of things and the
Ben can
cuts
speak on
and
that.
Yeah.
yeah,
Juice,
I get
I've seen a lot of my editing, like the layers and
yeah,
stuff. It's crazy. It's
yeah,
crazy.
and in the past I've been very very much like that, to the point where I got to a point where I was just like I can't really get anything done and put anything out because I'm just like sitting in my own indecision for
I
so long. Like I'm
honestly,
just
same thing.
yeah.
I'm at that point right now where I'm like, I'm losing precious time ultra editing, because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, should I put it like this? Oh no, but I should put it. Oh, but I should,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I get it. I get
But
it.
it's like it's so cool to see something that you produced like
Oh
really
yeah.
diligently. Like it's really cool to see something come to life in that way. For me, I'm just like if I'm gonna do TikTok, because before I've toyed with like starting YouTube channels. I'll do it for a couple months and then fall off. And then I was Twitch streaming in like 2018 for a long time,
Okay.
and then just fell off that. Life happened, that sort of thing. Um, But with TikTok, I was like I've been toying with it for so long. I started last year in March. Um, and before that I was just like, oh, there's such an opportunity here to talk about indie games and that sort of thing. And I was just, yeah, kind of what I'm saying. Like I was just getting in my own way and being like, oh, I have to edit everything in Premiere Pro and I have to have all these layers and I have to have all these graphics and things that pop in, blah blah blah. And then I just started and stopped too many times, and I said to myself, "You know what? You're not using your computer to edit at all for these videos. I am only using my phone. I am not using a DSLR camera. I am not importing footage. I'm not doing that. I just like gave myself the parameters to do everything from my phone, and it has helped me so much being
Oh shit.
productive. Like it
So
Yeah,
is
interesting. Yeah.
it's interesting.
it's just like given me these parameters to like do what I can with what I have. And things oftentimes are not the way that I have envisioned them or like happen the way that I like them to. But it's just TikTok is so fast paced that I just have to put it out and
Yeah.
just like say goodbye to it. Um, and it's a pretty liberating feeling. Yeah, exactly. Like it's putting your stuff out there is always a bit of a weird feeling, and just like there's always more work to be done on something. Like if for me something is never done, I could work on it for like weeks and weeks and still have little tweaks to do. But I but yeah, giving me those parameters really helped me with being productive and being um unprecious about things. Yeah.
That's so interesting because like for myself, I feel like I'm the opposite of you two. You guys are both very technical people in the
Mhm.
sense of like going to school. I had to teach myself everything. So like I would say within the past 3 months, I've started to feel like I've actually been very good at editing. But it's the same thing with you. Like all my editing right now is on my phone using CapCut Pro and just really honing in on that
Yeah.
specifically and being like, "Okay, this is how I'm gonna get good is by mastering this part. Now let's master this. Let's master transitions. Let's master B-roll. Let's master like all these things, right?" So like, I totally feel that doing the phone. The re I'm excited to move because I want to try doing more things on computer because I see what Ben does and like
Yeah.
the stuff that he's able to do is so impressive. But I always find it's such a no matter what, you're just
Hmm.
learning all the time. And I feel the whole like getting in your own way where you're like, oh, this could look so much better, this could look so much better.
Yeah.
And I'm like you where I mostly do short form content. I want to do more long form, but mostly because it's like a thing for me where I'm like, I gotta do this. Like just for my own self
Yeah,
craziness, just to make
yeah,
sure that I know that I can do this.
yeah.
Just as like
Yeah.
a self-fulfilling thing. But yeah,
Yeah.
with short form, it feels like everything is like it's like life in the fast lane. You just have to get it
Yeah.
out quick, especially when something is hot. So I totally feel that.
Totally.
That's so
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
And your videos, Juice, I have been seeing. The other day I saw a video of yours, and I was like, man, this guy's stepping up his game. Like the
I got
transitions and the
I
way
got
like animations happened. I was like,
yeah.
whoa, it's a good video. Yeah.
I look back at like what I was doing like even just like 6 months ago, and I was just like, no, it's just like it's just the thing for me when I see other people that I look up to. Like I really like, obviously Ben and I work together, but I love his stuff. So I'm like, I got. It's almost like a self competition thing.
No, it's
And I
normal.
was such a big
That's
fan of
content creation.
yours when I
Yeah.
was starting out. I was like, I
Yeah.
gotta get like him.
Yeah.
And then I have another friend, like another mutual friend of you and I, Rogan. I love Jacob Stevens. He has been such a kind guy to me. I
Yeah.
love this guy. And I see the stuff he does too, where he's just like so free, like in his speaking. I always like
Mhm.
try to pick from other people, and I'm like, I gotta improve. I gotta
Yeah.
try to do these editing things. So yeah, I totally feel that. It's always just like a self-learning thing and a self-growth thing for me. So I
I
totally
think
feel that.
I think Jacob's videos in particular are a good um are a great example of how just being a little bit less. I don't want to say his videos aren't like well produced, because they are. He's
Yeah.
just got like the green screen background a lot of the
Yeah,
time,
it's
and
so
he's just like
casual.
speaking his mind,
Yeah.
and the way that the like whatever he's communicating just flows is
Yeah.
so good. And I think that's like the most important part of his content. And you can see it, like he's like huge and his videos blow up all the time.
I
And
think his
Yeah.
so
voice
like
too is very like nice to listen to.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I
he's
don't
just
know
got
how
a
to
good
explain it, but
speaking voice
it's a
too.
good
Yeah.
voice.
yeah, he's
Like,
great.
yeah.
Yeah. So like it, and it's like that's the TikTok thing, right? It's like your personality is the thing that needs to shine above everything else, whether your video is produced or not. Is like, I think that those are the videos. Those are usually the videos that I'm most proud of, the ones that feel like they're coming from me, and like my voice is injected into them. The ones that I'm not always proud of are the ones that like I kind of like phone this in, or I wouldn't talk like that. Like
Yeah.
it's that sort of thing. So yeah.
No,
Yeah, I know for me, like before I get let Ben talk, because I
no,
know he's got tons to say. Like,
no, it's okay.
I
It's
just
okay.
always feel
Go.
like
Mhm.
the most important thing for me is like it has to feel like it's just me and a couple people just chatting, having a like just shooting it. Obviously, you have to
Yeah.
be a little more expressive. At least I feel when I'm on camera. I'm like you. I played a lot of sports, but I was a musician. I was always on stage. When I was in university, I was an English major. I was always learning about storytelling, drama, theater. I was
Yeah.
always big into storytelling. So I always felt like I was capable of doing storytelling. It just came down to editing too and being like, how can I
Yeah.
make this like concise? So I
Mhm.
totally feel that. And I always feel like the learning thing is like you always just have to be learning, always just have to be willing to accept
Totally.
criticism and be willing to always improve like your craft.
Yeah.
No, I
Okay.
get that. For me, it's different because like I I did my studies in IT. I always wanted to do content creation from since I was a kid. You know, I always knew that that's what I wanted to do in life, but my family environment didn't really allow that. It was always like you have to have a big job and blah blah. You know, so there was a lot of pressure, and so I gave in to that pressure, and I was doing a big IT job, and I hated my life. Like hated my life.
Mhm.
Like it was the worst thing ever. So, and one of my friend, he's he has his own show on YouTube, and he has an like an audio show, kind of like a horror audio show, and he's really like he's pretty big right now. He's pretty much under the scene, but he does voice actor jobs for indie games. He's working I can't say where he's working, but he's starting to work at video game companies. Like he's getting pretty big, and he told me one day, was like, dude, would you rather like just, I don't know, do your like continue your IT job and hating your life, or do what you want and failing at that? Like it's just it depends, because like corporate job gives you a false security, in my opinion. Like it gives you a fact like a you feel like you're secure, you feel like you have money, you feel like you have money coming in and you're never going to get touched, but at the end of the day, as soon as they need to let you go, they will. Like it'll happen. And that's where like something clicked in me. I said, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to start. I knew nothing about editing, nothing. And I just, at first I was trying on my phone, I couldn't. I had to be comfortable, and since there's a language barrier, unfortunately, I have trouble explaining myself. So for me, it was all learning to, like, you know, explain myself better, learning bigger words in a way. Because I've always been a super fan of video games, and I've always been the guy that was into like RPGs, indie games, like all the niche stuff. And I've always wanted to talk about it. And I've always been the like a Nintendo kid, you know, like the super, you know, the annoying Nintendo guy, you know, like that likes Nintendo too much. That was always me. And yeah. So I think content creation helped me, you know, just learn all of this. And it's just, at some point I have to stop myself, because like I always want to get better. I have an obsession of always everything that I produce, it needs to be better than the last one. Like either the way I speak, either script writing, either editing, everything.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit obsessive though, because it makes me like always think about that. And it's like, it's hard to just like sometimes just take a break and be like, okay, I need to spend time with my girlfriend, I need to spend time with my cats, just do general things, general life things. But yeah, it helped me like grow a lot, because I like 7 months ago, my first videos were terrible. I'm not saying they're great, but I'm saying they're like miles better than what I was doing before. Is just because I pushed myself. For me, working on a computer, working like with I have the G Osmo Pocket 3, like I can see myself being filmed. It helps me a lot in a way, but so that's why I can't do it on my phone. But like I think like the fact that you obsess a little bit on your, I'm not saying that you're obsessed on your content, but like you always want to get better, like you get so specific on your content. I think I have the same thing.
And it's like, it's so, the thing you said about being obsessive and thinking about it all the time, I totally I empathize with that. It's hard for me to turn it off, and like even thinking of ideas and sort of what video I'm gonna do next, like I rarely don't have that on my mind. I try and just sort of like take breaks, and especially when I'm spending time with the dog and my wife, and like trying to have a nice evening. Those are the times where like an idea will spark, and I'm like, sorry, I have to write this down.
You're like, because if you don't write it down, that's the thing. If you don't write it down, it leaves, and you can have to.
It's gone.
I am the worst at organizing myself in life. I'm very bad, and it like at first I was just not writing anything down. I was just like, oh, you know, who cares? I'll remember in like two days. No, you don't.
No. And it's gone forever.
Yeah, exactly. like you're not gonna. Yeah, exactly. So it's yeah. Wow. But yeah, I think it's always like I'm going back to my friend, but he found a perfect way to like disassociate from content creation, and just the fact that sometimes he just told me like when you're with your girlfriend, when you're in your personal life, live your personal life to the fullest. Like don't like it's different, because like we're doing short form content, I'm doing longer form content too at the same time, but short form content, it's always sporadic. You need to do it right now. If you don't do it, you lose the trend, you lose the kind of like the hype around it, you know. That's why right now the Switch 2 is a golden opportunity for content in a way. But no, it's just I'm still have trouble just, you know, closing the gap between life and content creation. It's the hard thing.
It's the struggle.
Sure. It is a struggle. Sorry, I just have to read my notes 2 seconds. So for me, I've talked about how I got into content creation, but I wanted to know, like, what would you say to someone that wants to get into content creation? Like, is there or something that is afraid to do it, that doesn't want to take the leap, that, you know, is just afraid of people's opinion or stuff like that? Like, what would you say to that person that wants to start creating content, because you're becoming extremely successful online. So I wanted your opinion on that.
Yeah, I think I mean, I guess it's easy for me to say that it's not that scary because it kind of is, like, especially putting yourself out there and just like taking a leap and really putting yourself on display is a scary thing, but I think it's always a good thing to step out of your comfort zone and do something maybe you're not that comfortable with. Comfortable to a certain extent, obviously. If you're like really, really uncomfortable with it,
Yeah,
then don't. But like if it's a thing that you definitely want to try out and that you're wanting to, like, lean into the scary part of it, because the scary part of it is probably the thing that's gonna like make you grow the most. I find that with everything, like not just this sort of thing, but that's how you learn. That's the best way I learn, is when like something is really making me nervous or scared, then that's the time where I'm like, okay, I
hmm
have to just like lean into it fully,
yeah,
and you're gonna get better. And also, like kind of what we were talking to, but like the success isn't going to come overnight. Like you're going to have so many videos that just completely flop, and you're going to
yeah.
spend so much time on a video for an idea that you thought like this is the best. Like
This is
I've
gonna
never had a
grow.
better
Yeah,
idea. This is going to like grow my channel.
yeah,
And then it goes up and it like
it,
nothing
yeah.
happens.
Nothing happens.
That
Yeah,
happens all the time.
all the
Like
time.
that happens to me all
All
the
the
time.
time.
The videos I spend the most time on, the most effort on, are the ones that just like
Yeah.
flop. And that's going to happen. And then you're not going to really be able to explain it.
Mm.
But I think, especially with content creation, it's a long game,
Yeah.
right? It's like
Mm.
about sticking with it and being committed to it. And if you like what you're doing, then you're just going to enjoy it. Like do it as a hobby, and do it for the sake of doing it because you like doing it, and not because like you want a certain amount of likes or views or this and that. And if your personality and your love for the thing that you want to talk about shows through your content, it'll get there. It's just be
It,
consistent and explore good ideas. Don't lock yourself into a certain bucket. Like try different things, and you're good. Because yeah, for me, it's I kind of like what I was talking about, getting myself out of the cycle of like trying to just like get a lot of views. It just rarely works in the way that I want it to. And
mm.
trying different things is, I think, what TikTok especially is all about.
TikTok is a very weird platform for that. Like
Very weird.
you
Yeah.
can go viral for the thing that you are not talking about. Like you do just a random video and
Yeah.
you get extremely viral. The algorithm
Yeah.
of TikTok is the like I can't comprehend it. I just can't.
Yeah, I know. Me
YouTube is
too.
a yeah. YouTube is a different game, but TikTok
Yeah.
is, oh my god. I have yet to discover the secrets of TikTok, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know. It's like I don't know. I think TikTok is like, it's so much about getting to a point where you're decently established, and then you kind of get out of the 200 view jail thing.
Jail.
Like
Yeah, this is
that
the worst.
that's
yeah.
a real thing,
Yeah,
for
it's a
sure.
real
Oh,
thing.
it is. Yeah.
And it's like you get stuck there, especially starting out. Like you just like it just sometimes it feels like you're never gonna get out of that, but then you have one thing that sort of brings you out of it, and then you have another thing, and then another thing, and then it almost is like TikTok trusts you, and then it's
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
okay, your videos can get out of this. It's like it's not gonna like blow up and explode every time, but it gets you out of that cycle. That can be the most frustrating thing starting
Yeah.
out.
Because I get it, because I'm still in that gel in a way. The thing is
Yeah.
too, the problem I think I had at first, I had no idea what I was doing. So, and that's the thing too with content creation. What I would say is study a lot, study other people's content,
Yeah.
and study the algorithm, especially on YouTube. On Instagram, I have no idea what the algorithm is. On TikTok, I am the most clueless person ever. But on the reason why I think I'm successful right now on YouTube is because I study so much. And as soon
Yeah.
as I started, and the thing is too, is for me, what helped me a lot is not puke content. A lot of people, what they do is they start just puking and puking and puking content, not spending the minimal
Never
effort.
heard of that before.
Yeah, No, that's how I see
Yeah, I
it.
know what you mean though.
Yeah.
Like, which is
Like
so
they
weird.
queue content, they're like, oh, it's like as the more I'm gonna get there, the more I'm gonna like the more people are gonna see me. But what happens when you do that? And I've done it, so I know it doesn't work. I've done it. Like I was committed to post 2 shorts a day, 2 clips, 2 like because I tried streaming, it didn't work. And it would just I was stuck in that gel, especially on YouTube. It's like the 500 view gel. TikTok is the 2 or 300 view gel. I was just puking content that was not good. Like you have to at some point you have to reflect on yourself and be like, okay, my content is not good. I need to improve. So for me, that
Yeah.
really helped me being like, okay, now like I have to do more efforts. I have to put my foot down and actually like learn how to edit, learn how to explain myself, to express myself, learn how to like do script writing.
Yeah.
So that's what helped me, like being more like
Totally.
yeah. So
And a lot of people think like consistency means post every single day, multiple
yeah,
times a
no,
day.
yeah,
Whereas like it's not really that. It's just like find a cadence that works
yeah,
for you and
yeah,
be regular
yeah,
about it.
Mhm.
Do it, just stick with it. Whether that's
yeah,
like 3 times a week or 5 times a week or like if you can do it every single day of the week, do that. But it doesn't have to be. Like the content still has to be good,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
And
thing. The content
Yeah.
has to be good. Like I'm
yeah.
not, and I'm not saying my content is so good. My content needs a lot of work. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when you start like reflecting on yourself and
Yeah.
knowing your weakness and just being like, okay, I'm not good at this, I'm gonna work on this to be better. That's where I saw my channel not explode, but like yeah, kind of in a way. Like on YouTube, it's like as soon as I did that, it started growing super fast, so
Yeah.
that's
Totally.
yeah. That's how I see it.
That's
So
Yeah,
yeah.
like when I was starting out, like I would ask anyone who was bigger than me. I was like DMing them on TikTok and like, give me advice. Like, what is it? And like everyone consistently said, just like improving, like just always
Yeah.
learning, always improving. So like, like I always find like also like yeah, TikTok's algorithm is so weird because like I'll have a video like you guys said, like I'll put a 0 effort. Like I literally had like a goofy reaction video to Concord being shut down, 200,000 views. And I
Yeah.
was like, it was
yeah,
literally a 10-second video of me going with the
yeah,
like
Yeah.
headline above, like
Yeah.
literally an excerpt from the auto. I was like, 200,000 views.
Yeah.
I've made far more complicated videos or that I felt were more invested, but like sometimes you just I don't want to say not invest yourself into your videos, but sometimes you have to just be willing to be like, hey, sometimes things aren't going to work. Sometimes things are going to work. And you just have to accept that. And if you
Yeah.
aren't willing to improve, then unfortunately you won't make it that far. Like, so
Yeah.
you see some people maybe on your For You page where you're just like, this person just threw this together and they're hoping for the best. And they're like, I'm trying to get famous. And you're like, there's just so much not working. And if you're not willing to accept the criticism and not willing to accept like the improvements, like yeah, unfortunately, like you won't see that much growth. Like, man, when I see like Ben's like growth on YouTube, because now he's really like in like the like gaming space on his shorts, I feel like you've totally like nailed it, Ben, where you're just like, this is what people were asking for, and I'm improving like
yeah,
this and this and this. So like
Yeah.
whenever
That's
I see
key.
some people, even people we know who claim that they're like, "Oh, we've gotten so big," and then they just don't they just kind of plateau and they
but they
still
puke
don't feel like they're
content.
willing to improve, right? And they put out a lot. It's kind of like yeah, it's very interesting that
Yeah,
people just kind of plateau and are just like, "That's it. This is where I'm
yeah.
at." So
I'm not
you
saying
have
it's
to
a
be willing to accept the
yeah.
criticism and like be willing to improve. It's not even like a shame thing. It's mostly
Mm,
just like a you just there's the biggest room is the room for improvement. That's what
yeah,
someone told me, and I always
That's
think about
that's
that.
nice. I
yeah,
like that
Yeah,
yeah,
actually.
yeah,
I think it's so true, and I think it's just like it's nothing to be ashamed of. Like it's
mm,
like
no,
you're never gonna be like the absolute best at something, but you could strive to be, and that's kind of you know, if you can have incremental growth or incremental improvements, maybe something isn't like to the extent that you want it to be, but if you inch toward that thing, you'll get there
Mhm.
eventually. And it's also, I think, about trying new things as well,
Yeah.
like not getting yourself stuck in a corner. Just like do one thing and don't keep doing it with expectations that it's going to change. Like sometimes you can repost a video on TikTok
Yeah.
and something different will happen, but if you're doing that consistently for like a year or like 6 months
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
whatever,
reposting the same
you know.
video every 2 days, hoping
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
it's gonna grow. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like if you feel out the room, okay?
yeah,
Like, yeah.
and I think too, it's important to like. I know for me that's how it works, but I know it's like everyone's different. That's the thing. There's no key to success on content creation. You can
Totally.
be
Yeah.
from day. You could be viral day one, especially on TikTok. That can happen, and then you're gonna have the tools because everyone's gonna come to you and they're gonna help you become more like. I think for me is wanting to be the best that helps me be better. Like it's just again coming back to the obsession of like
Yeah.
I need to be better all the time. I think there's a Japanese saying like everything that you do that you create. I don't know exactly what the saying is, but like you do 1% more every time, just 1%. But the 10th
Yeah.
time you do it, you're 10% better. The 100th time you do it, you're 100% better. So
Yeah.
small steps. Every time it's a small step, it's just I'm gonna put a sound effects here. Oh, I'm gonna do a zoom here. Oh, I'm gonna
Mm.
it's just every time you just always improve, but it's super small. But
Yeah.
over the years, it's gonna be your content is gonna be so much better than it was before.
Yeah.
It's gonna take you the exact same time because every time you're just improving 1%. So
Yeah. And that's why, like, yeah, TikTok in short form is like a long game, right? Like, it's like it's not going to happen right away, but if you do those incremental improvements, then you're going to get there. Like,
yeah,
it's just inevitable that things are going to kind of like snowball and get better. And there are going to be down times, and there's always peaks and valleys with this sort of
yeah,
thing. But you got to like, I think the most important thing is to push through the times when
yeah,
you're like, oh, fuck this.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
why is my content not being pushed out? Those are the hardest times.
and
Those are the
Yeah.
times where you need to be like,
yeah.
I gotta keep going.
I think it's interesting that you say that because I think it can happen both ways. Okay, so if you have like a video that goes super viral or does super well, the time after your video like stop peaking, like it's just like it's I don't know how to explain it, but like it
Like
it stay
plateaus,
yeah it plateaus in a way.
Levels out.
That's the hardest time because now
Yeah.
your content is not being pushed by that video in a way. So that's where you're like, okay.
Coming down to
Yeah,
reality.
and then you do another video hoping it's gonna be big and usually it's always like that's the peak of the valley and then it goes down,
Yeah, and it's you know what? It's so funny how empty the feeling of going viral can feel.
Oh my
Like
god, yes.
I had a video recently do 1 million views on TikTok, which is awesome. Like it's an
Amazing.
awesome feeling when that happens.
Yeah.
But it's awesome for maybe like like an hour maybe or like that
Exactly.
Yeah.
day. And then like reality sets in and you just do it again.
Yeah.
Or like do another video. And it's like maybe empty is the wrong word. Like I'm so grateful for it and it's a great feeling for it to happen. But the point is, like, for me, I've learned that being consistent is way more important than going viral once and then seeing a dip
Yeah,
for like
exactly.
until the next
I've
Yeah,
felt that
viral
way
yeah,
video.
so
yeah.
much. Yeah.
Like if I can get my videos consistently to hit 10,000 views for me, that feels way better than having one video go to like 300,000,
No, yeah,
400,000.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, same.
So like and for me that's an indication of a thriving community and my community caring about my videos more than the viral video is just like a quick hit. Maybe you get a good influx of followers and it's a great feeling, but it just like it's fleeting, right?
Yeah.
So it's so funny. I used to think before I had a video sort of like do good numbers, I used to think, oh my God, like that would be so cool if my video blew up. And
Mm.
it's cool, and then it's just
And then it
regular
stops,
after.
and then you're
Yeah.
like, okay. And then
Yeah.
the thing is too is follower don't matter as much as it did before, unfortunately. You can have 70,000 followers, you can have 2 million followers. I've seen accounts on TikTok having 2 million followers and they get 300 views on their videos. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, that's where TikTok scares me a lot. It's just, for me, no matter how many subscribers you have, sometimes it could just, I don't know, it's sometimes you can be stuck again on that 200, depending on the content that you do. If you're always improving, I don't think that's true, but like some people plateau. They're like, oh, I did 2 shorts that two TikToks that did extremely well, and I have 2 million followers, and then they bank on that to, you know, people seeing their videos. But it doesn't really matter on TikTok. It's not because you're followed to someone that you're gonna see that content. You're gonna see it more, but you're not gonna see it every time they post a video. So like it's kind of a weird game, you know. It's weird, in my opinion.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, so kind of going off that, we're kind of getting to the end here, but I would be curious about just kind of like your process, because I feel like everyone's is different, and especially in short form where we all kind of do short form. What is your process as far as, you know, your content creation goes? Are you planning ahead? Are you winging it? Do you write a script? You know, what does a typical week look like for you when it comes to content creation and your process?
Yeah, so I think my natural inclination is kind of like what you were saying, Ben, about like not writing things down. I'm quite an unorganized person
Yeah.
in general. Yeah, things are generally disorganized with me. But that's another thing I'm trying to improve with myself, especially with my content. So one thing, I plan everything out now. I schedule everything out. Well, I don't film my content ahead of time. Like I usually do the video for that day.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Just to, but I have all the videos planned out and I have all the scripts put together so that I can kind of like do them right away and then edit them the day of. Um, and I have like do you guys have Notion? Do you know what Notion is? It's like
Notion?
No, I have no idea
yeah,
what that is.
Notion is like an
Like a prompter?
application. It's an application where you can like write notes and you can keep things organized, and they have like templates that allow you to kind of have like a timeline and put ideas in there, and they're kind of
I
like
gotta get
sticky
this.
notes.
Yeah,
So
same.
yeah,
Yo.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll share it with you.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
I have a Notion template where like I have all my video ideas and I have them under different buckets. So I have like top 10 indie or like indie list videos in one
Mm.
column, and then I have like comedy videos in another column, and then I have rants in another column. And
Mm.
anytime I have an idea, I just toss an
You
idea
toss
into
it
the
there,
column.
yeah. The idea can be
Yeah,
there for a long time, but you
just
do
sits
everything
there
the day of.
sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes it just sits there, and then when I'm ready to like when I know when I'm gonna do it, I have a calendar below it where I just drag the idea into the calendar into the date
Okay.
where I want to do it. So that's kind of how I try and keep things planned out. Again, it really goes against my natural inclination to just like
Do
wing
it out
it,
of
but
spite, you know, just right now.
yeah,
Yeah, yes. I get
it just
it.
like it just wouldn't work
Yeah.
if I did it that way. So that's kind of how I keep things organized. But the reason I film my videos the day of, sometimes I do them ahead of time, but the reason I do that is like I really want to open myself up to be a bit reactive to like what happened that day, and then I'm like, okay, I can change the context of this video to kind of fit what happened today, or I can change for me, hooks are really important. Like the first
3
5
seconds. Yeah.
seconds of my
Yeah.
Always,
3
yeah.
video
seconds are the
is
best.
the thing I spend the most time
Yeah,
on
of course.
by far.
Yeah, of
Like the
course.
way that I say something,
Yeah.
or like the sort of like movement coming into frame, like all of that kind of stuff is super important to me. So yeah, I have all of that written down. Everything is scripted. I'm really bad with unscripted videos.
Same. Same.
Because I tend to I tend to ramble, and then editing my videos becomes a nightmare.
Yeah,
like,
because
if
it's so
allowing myself to
long.
do that.
The thing is, okay, sorry,
Yeah.
I don't want to interrupt you. I really enjoy what you're saying right now, but
No worries, no
Yeah.
worries.
it's the same thing for me. Like sometimes I find, especially for my long form, because I'm really pushing my long form right now because that's really what I want to do. But sometimes when I see myself rumbling in my editing, I go crazy. It's just
Yeah,
I have to
me
cut
too.
every 2 seconds. Like it just
Yeah.
takes me so long to edit instead of me having a script and then ramble
Yeah.
a little bit. I stutter. I just like I don't know what I'm saying. I get lost in my thought. I'm like, yeah, no, I get exactly what you're
Yeah.
saying. It's frustrating.
And my script is usually it's like I write it down for the sake of having my thought process structured, and then when I'm filming it, I don't necessarily say everything word for word. I allow myself to like say it in a way that comes out naturally for me, but at least I have a guide to sort of like my thoughts are down in a way that I want this to be communicated, and
Having a
I sort of
structure,
follow it
you
that
know,
way.
kind
Yeah,
of, yeah, having a structure. Yeah, I
exactly.
do the same thing because I can't, if because when I start rumbling or just like kind of putting the words in my own way, then I forget what I
Yeah.
have to say next, you know? So then I just be
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, and then, yeah, no, so.
Exactly. And then like I find when I do rambly videos, because every once in a while I allow myself to sit down and I go, I'm not writing a script for this one because I want to see how my skill has developed in it.
Yeah.
And I think I am improving, but it still makes editing a nightmare when I don't have a structured
It's
script because
crazy.
I have no roadmap. Like
Yeah.
I'm just like listening to my footage and then being like, this is a nice clip. I'll make that the thing that I said. And then it's just like it doesn't work for me.
Yeah, no,
I
I
can't,
get it.
I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you guys do it? So you
It's-
Ben script your videos. Juice, do you do that?
Yeah, so I'm very infamously not really a scripting person
Yeah.
Yeah.
because of it's which is very odd for me. I'm like you where I usually record the same day I'm posting for the exact same reason due to the reactiveness of it. I usually plan my videos out, but I do like I will say like I'll usually put 3 to 4 videos out a week, but 2 of them maybe are news related that have just come up.
Mhm.
My brain is very interesting when I'm talking. Especially when I do speeches or anything in public events, I will have a speech. I am always like a freeform jazz player. I'm going off script all the time.
Yeah.
So 75% of the time when you're watching my videos, that is just me speaking. Just me speaking
That is
and
crazy,
my
man.
brain just working at the same time. I don't know why. It's just how my process has been.
For sure.
So when I do like more involved editing, I'm literally uploading like 10 to 11 videos of me. Yeah, it's
Okay.
me.
Okay.
Yeah, going crazy.
Yeah.
So like I have usually like let's say a video is 30 seconds, it's probably about 9 clips all put together of
Yeah.
me thinking of like 2 to 3 sentences. I'm very like vampy like that, I guess. Like
Mhm.
I'm Eddie Van Halen. Just let me solo, let me do my own thing,
Hell
right?
yeah.
So,
I
but
love it.
the problem is like that I can ramble, which I've been known to be a yapper. So
Yeah, but okay.
I have to
okay.
be able to really like can bring everything down and more concise, which I feel like I've done a really good job recently. But I would say my process only works for me personally because
Yeah.
I feel like it's important to have a script. It's important to have like ideas, but my artistic process is totally not at all what like a usual person would do, I think.
To be fair, I don't want to assume, but Rogan, you have ADHD, right?
I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
do, but you know, I have not been
You have not
formally
been.
diagnosed.
I don't
So
want to put the diagnosis here, but like, I feel like the way you approach content creation is kind of similar to the way I approach it in a way.
yeah.
And I am severely ADHD, like to a point where like the government has a special case, not a special case, but it's like it's written in my medical like I don't know, I can get grants for it and stuff like that. It's really like it's a
Wow.
bad ADHD, like, but it's
Yeah.
not stopping me, you know. So
Yeah.
at first I was not like I think Juice, you saw the shift when I started scripting my content or not. I don't know if you saw it,
Yeah.
but at first I was scripting nothing and I was just like hating the way I was just speaking and the way I was describing myself, because like I had no flow, I had no structure. It was just me jumping to subject, coming back to the subject, and then going back, and it just wasn't working for me. I recently, like,
Yeah.
I would say the past 2 months, I've started scripting my stuff, and that's where I saw
Yeah,
a peak.
yeah.
So, but yeah, I do exactly the same thing. Like I have a script. I write everything down, and then after that, I allow myself to be more free about that script. Sometimes I don't do it, but when I don't do it, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I just feel like
Yeah.
it's not it. So I'm just like, eh. And usually I don't post it. But for me, what's weird is just I work 40-hour weeks. So and I work in management, so like there's a lot more my head is occupied by other things too than content creation, because I have to take care of a store and stuff like that. So for me, I have to film everything in one day, usually like a week
Yeah.
before or stuff like that. And then after that, I work throughout the week for my clips, because I will like
Yeah.
get into a flow where at first I'm like just a little bit shy, you know, and like, hey, I don't talk that much. And then after that, I
Yeah.
get really like into it. Usually
Mhm.
I do like one round, I do 2 takes, and then after that I redo another round where I have everything in my head. I have everything that I want to say perfectly. I've allowed myself to be a little bit more free with what I want to say, and then I go all in, and now I'm just like re-recording a third time, you know, and then that works for me. I
Yeah.
don't know why, but that just works for me, you know.
It's everybody's individual
Yeah.
process, you know? Like everybody has their own way of doing it, and there's no like I don't think there's any right or wrong way to do it.
No,
I
yeah.
wish I was somebody who could like who could vamp and be in front of the camera. I
Yeah.
have some friends who are really good at
Mhm.
that sort of thing and can like go up and do a wedding speech without having anything written down, and it's the best speech you ever heard. And I have some friends who need everything written down,
Yeah.
cannot stray off of it, you know, like and that works for them as well, you know. So yeah,
Good.
there are a lot of different ways you can do it.
Yeah, and I've been following a content creator for like the past 15 years now. I don't know who I don't know if you know who that is, but it's Happy Console Gamer on YouTube. He's like an old guy just
Mm.
Oh
talking
yeah,
about
yeah,
video
the
games.
Vancouver guy. Yeah.
He does no scripts, 0 scripts, and it's impressive
Which is
how much
crazy.
he can ramble and stay like structured. Every time
Wow.
I'm like, dude, like you kind of feel it that it's not scripted, because like sometimes he can repeat himself and stuff, but like, man, most of his videos, like, it's really well structured, and he has 0 script and can just talk, like you said, like the guy that can do like wedding speech, it's perfect, and it's just like in
Yeah.
one go, you know. Sometimes
Yeah.
I can do that, but it's very rare. Like it
Yeah.
happens like once every blue moon. So like I jump on that opportunity, and then I start creating more content, you know. But you know,
Yeah. Nice.
I think we're at the last question here. Last question.
Last
Last
one.
one.
Last
The
one.
last one. No.
Yeah. No.
Been having such a good time.
Yeah, same. Like
Exactly.
it's so fun. It's so fun.
I
But
think
yeah.
before we get to the last question, Ben
Yeah.
and I we like learning.
Yeah.
And I think like that's the main thing,
Yeah.
especially when we get to talk about gaming, right? Like we had such a good time talking with G, the game developer, because we really got to like understand like different things about game development that we never knew. And it's always fun learning about things that you're passionate about, obviously.
Totally.
But so like hearing you talk about your process about like content creation and where your like love of gaming came from and why you found like this niche. I always find that kind of stuff really, really interesting, especially
Yeah.
like creative process. I think Ben, you can agree, obviously.
Yeah,
but,
it's like I'm enjoying my
Yeah.
time right now. That's what-
and honestly, it's like I don't know. I'm just like fully winging it, and
Yeah.
and it's been nice that my channels have been able to grow as much as they have. I did not expect that when I started last year, but yeah, I'm just like I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just trying things and seeing what happens.
I
And
think
it's
it
just
goes
been going well, so I'm
yeah.
grateful.
I think it goes for all of us. Like, it's just, there's no key to content creation. There's no,
Yeah.
you don't know what you're doing, basically. Like, you can listen to inspirational YouTube videos that are going to tell you what to do, but it's never right.
Yeah.
Because it works for them and not for you. Like,
Yeah.
so I think that's the important thing to know, is like, do what works for you. Don't copy other people's way of working if it doesn't work for you, you know? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
yeah. But yeah, last question, and you know, we're kind of a Nintendo podcast. We're not only a Nintendo podcast, but we do love our Nintendo.
You're Nintendo
you know?
guys.
Yeah,
Nintendo guys.
yeah, we love our Nintendo.
You're like the Costco guys. But
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Nintendo guys.
How many booms?
Always
You know,
bring out a boom.
we
How
bring
many
out
booms is
Yeah.
the fucking Nintendo Switch 2 gonna
Yeah. But we wanted to know, actually. So the Switch 2 is right around the corner. We all know that it's coming out in a week and a half. And we wanted to know if you were hyped about the thing. Are you excited about it? Are you planning to get one? I know you've mentioned it a couple of times in the video, but like,
Yeah.
what is your plan for the Switch 2? Maybe like,
I didn't get a pre-order. I tried, and then I think, oh, what was I on? I think I was on Best Buy or Walmart Canada. Man, and I got this thing in my cart so many times, and it just like
Oh,
crapped out on me, and
a classic.
whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
like it is funny. I don't know. I think Juice, you made a video like this, or maybe it was the podcast, a clip I saw of the podcast, but you guys were talking about like people being so surprised that this happened.
Yeah,
It's like,
Yeah,
it was a
we
clip of
were
the
so-
vlog, yeah.
like
yeah,
of course.
I was surprised
It's
that
like-
people were surprised.
Yeah,
Well,
like that's gonna
It
happen.
happens all the
for
time,
sure. It happened with
unfortunately.
happened with the PlayStation. It happens
Mhm.
every single time a multiplayer game launches.
Yeah.
Like and things shut down. Like the servers are. It's like this is just. I feel like there's no way to prep a Walmart Canada for that amount of traffic. Like
Oh,
it's just,
exactly.
Never.
it's just gonna
And
happen, right?
we talked, like, just real quick tangent. I despise Walmart's website.
No, it's
Yeah.
the worst.
It
It's
really
stuff.
doesn't feel good at all to use.
No.
Like, it's terrible. Oh my god.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, this is not me giving them like a buy or anything like
No,
that. I'm
no,
just
no.
saying like this is the reality of the world. This is the way God has bestowed
Yeah,
the
exactly.
internet upon us. That this has been what we have been thrust with. Like
Mhm.
we cannot change it. So like that whole thing was just such a funny conversation because I was like, I could have put $1 million on this happening and I would have happily.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And I think you've made a video about it being like no matter, like, before the Switch 2 was announced, you were like, no matter what you think the price is, double it.
Yeah.
Or something like
Yeah.
that. And it was
Yeah,
so
yeah.
funny to me. I was like, bro, you're so right. Like, it's such a good
And
video.
people-
Like,
People were coming into my comments like days and days after that. They're like, "Wow, this guy was so right."
Yeah,
I was like,
exactly,
"Okay,
you know.
I'm so glad I was right about
Yeah.
it," because it's like, but yeah, I mean, I'm very pumped for the Switch 2. I'm one of the people who I don't have as much of an issue with the whole thing as many other people might. Like, obviously, the prices are a little bit weird, and
Mm.
I've been anticipating prices of video games to go up, and I always thought like Nintendo are very likely going to be the ones to do this.
do the jump.
So, like,
yeah.
and it sucks. Like, I'm not saying it doesn't. I think I've just mentally prepared for this moment happening. So it's just was a reality for me. And I'm happy to pay for the Switch 2
Same, yeah.
personally. Like I'm looking forward to it. I think it's great. I think it sucks like the state of the economy and what's going to happen to the price of this thing post launch. I'm sure Nintendo was like really wanting to raise the price of this thing, but I wonder again, I wonder what those conversations were like internally. I don't know. I bet you they're losing a little bit of money on this, or like I don't know if maybe they're Nintendo, obviously a massive corporation that's worldwide and global and makes a lot of money. I wonder if they're having conversations with the administration and just being like, what can we do? Like, what can we do to make
Yeah.
sure that this? I wonder. It's an interesting conversation, but yeah, I'm really excited for the Switch 2. I'm excited for Mario Kart World. It's
Okay.
gonna be awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ben and I
you're
are
the
kind of
first
at this
to hear it,
weird.
guys.
Yeah.
You
We're
know?
kind of at this weird impasse where we're both excited, and I'm really excited, but Ben, there's like a pessimistic side for Ben right now with Mario Kart
Yeah.
World.
Yeah.
They have beef, I think.
No,
I think
okay,
he needs
okay,
to play
okay.
the game, but he kind of has
Okay.
beef with the game.
The thing is I play a lot of Mario Kart 8. Like I every
Yeah.
time I play online, I play with Japanese people that have 99999 score. I've played so much. Okay, like
Yeah.
I'm at a point where I know the map by heart. I know where to turn. I know where to hop to make sure that I get the turn better. Like I've played the shit out of Mario Kart 8. I could probably play competitively and do a good job, you know, because
Yeah.
I know pretty much like I was obsessed with that game. I don't know why. I just love Mario Kart. And for me, the fact that you go straight most of the time, the open worlds look boring, in my opinion. Like there's nothing in it for me right now to be like, I'm so excited. I am excited. I'm gonna
Yeah.
play it. I'm gonna enjoy it. That's for sure. But
Yeah.
Mario Kart is fun when you turn, when you drift, when you throw
Yeah.
items, when you do shortcuts, when you like do tricks off ramps. Like there doesn't seem
Yeah.
like there's a lot of this in Mario Kart. Since there's like 24 player races now, they've kind of like broadened the races in a way.
Everything's way wider.
Yeah, exactly. So it
Yeah.
makes it kind of less intensive. You know,
Yeah.
like you can't get your corner right. Like you have to. There's gonna be so much player in front of you, or like I don't know. It's just gonna be a mess in my opinion. Like
Yeah.
especially the item that's always been a problem in Mario Kart competitively in a way, because it
Yeah.
kind of breaks the game. Now with more people and with larger maps and just, you know, more straight lines, that's where for me I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see, man.
Yeah.
It's definitely an interesting direction for them to go. I'm assuming they looked at stuff like Forza Horizon and that sort
I
of
love
thing.
that game. Oh.
Yeah.
Probably.
And
Yeah.
so yeah, I think it is a good idea, but yeah, you're right. I guess like what I don't know, maybe there are some concessions that they had to make in different parts of the game that made the other ones
Yeah.
fun.
I
Yeah.
don't think it's going to be a bad game. I think it's going to be very enjoyable. The
Yeah.
thing that pisses me off the most, and we've talked about it a lot in the podcast, me and Juice, but like we don't really mind the prices. We understand the economy. We understand like just like the Nintendo Switch is a technical marvel right now. The second one, like it's
Yeah.
just it's so thin. It's super powerful. Like the price of the console doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
The prices
Yeah, we don't
of
have a problem with the price of the
Yeah.
console. I
it's
think
the
Yeah.
variable
fair
pricing
for what you're getting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It's very true.
It's
Yeah.
the like $110, especially in Canada for
It's
Mario
the game
Kart.
Yeah,
prices.
Canada, it's rough.
It's
yeah.
rough,
Oh,
you know, and I'm like,
Yeah.
like you're kind of sending a message that every game that you're not gonna put $110 is gonna be less good than Mario Kart. And if Mario Kart flops, what does like? What message are you giving to your consumer? Like, oh, Donkey Kong Bonanza is cheaper, so it's less
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Like that's how they want to kind of approach the thing, and I feel like I don't know. I find it very weird. I find Nintendo got greedy back in a way, like got back
it's
to
a bit
greed.
icky for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like the
Yeah.
Switch, they had to like regain people's confidence, and then now they're just like,
Yeah.
oh, everyone has a Switch, so I don't care, you know. So I still
Yeah.
love Nintendo. And
Yeah,
just
totally. Yeah, and like, yeah, with all these stupid tariffs, I don't even.
Yeah.
What is this world that we're
Yeah.
living in where like this is happening? I can't even believe it.
Yeah.
Obviously, not to get into that conversation.
no,
but
exactly. We don't want to
you
get
know where I
political.
stand.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just like it's so many things playing into like a game console. You'd never really
Yeah.
think that we would be having these sorts of conversations around this, but alas.
Yeah,
Yep.
Ben and I, we've had a lot of discussion about kind of just this lead up to this console and just how like I'm sure you see all like when you're just on TikTok or on like YouTube or stuff, you're just like some people the rage bait I find, especially at the start of 2025, where it feels like anger engagement, especially in the gaming community, is way up. And the Switch 2 definitely feels like a kickoff to that. But I just see so much, you know, not saying not like a negative, but I see so much engagement now for especially in the gaming community of just angry hot takes, just hoping for you to comment, just hoping for you to be angry at the person or agree in anger,
Yeah.
you know, for things that
Yeah.
I just feel like don't seem very genuine, you know, like,
And
you know, the thing we see the most, because we're Nintendo centric podcasters or content creators, is just the thing that we do the most, is that, you know what, I see it's for kids, it's only for kids, and they're hoping to elicit any kind of reaction. And it feels like I just see this so much, especially at the start of this year. I don't know if you see the
yeah.
same thing, but that's like a conversation Ben and I have, not only on the podcast but off of it, being like, where's all this anger coming from? Like,
Yeah. It's exhausting, to be
oh
honest.
yeah.
And like I n- not to paint myself as like a saint or anything like that. I sometimes get into this, like, I have a bit of a snarky video, somebody comments something on me and I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like I try and clap back in a funny way.
Yeah, well, we all do
But
that in a way, you know.
yeah, for sure. But I really try not to feed into that sort of like negative
Oh yeah.
cycle. I try and talk more about the things that I like about video games and like the things that I really dislike about the games that I'm playing, or if I'm playing a game that I like genuinely hate, or I'm just like not having a good time with it. I prefer just not to put my energy into those things and rather
Yeah.
just like move on to something else. Or I have no problem telling people and being honest that like I wasn't that into that game.
Mm,
But I don't feel the need to put together these like hateful, rageful videos for video
yeah.
games, something that's supposed to be so joyful and like bring happiness into your life, or at least bring entertainment into your life. I don't understand why we have to be so angry about it all. And I know that we have the grifters and the people that are just like there to farm engagement because they say something controversial or whatever. But I think I want to be somebody who's not playing any part in that, and is instead, and hopefully I can be somebody that can, like, I don't know, inspire you to like make your own videos, or inspire you to play this cool new indie you saw that was made by like one person
Mhm.
and will like
We'll
make you
change, yeah.
happier than any Call
Yeah.
of Duty game
Yeah,
you'll
yeah, yeah.
ever play, like, not this there's anything, I like Call of Duty games too, but you know what I'm saying, like, it's I don't know. I want to inspire that sort of like spark, that happiness that maybe we felt a little while ago when things weren't so chaotic and like sad in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope we can like keep that spirit alive, because yeah, sometimes it gets really depressing, but at the end of the day, I think we just need to understand that games are fun and games are cool, and we don't have to be mad all the time.
I think
Exactly.
I think it's funny that you say that because, but not funny in a way that, but sorry. You made a video recently about like you've done a video that you regret. I remember exactly what it is. I don't know if
Oh
you
yeah.
know what I'm talking about, but I found that video really nice. Just reiterating on the fact that I don't want to be that person. And
Yeah.
that was, for me, like, that was a, how do I explain it? But that kind of changed the way I see content now. I was like, shit,
Oh, that's nice.
that person can be positive about things and still
Mhm.
gain. Because I fell into the trap of being negative on content just in order to get engagement, which I don't want to
Yeah.
get, because I love video games and I want to talk about what I love. But at the same time,
Mhm.
like, there's always that little, the devil, something like, hey, say
Yeah, yeah,
this in
yeah.
order to,
Yeah.
you should say
Exactly.
this. Like, I did a video
Yeah.
recently, which I'm not really proud of. It was like, oh, Nintendo were kind of forcing developers to use game key cards. And after that, like, I was like, well, that's just shitty. Like, it's just
Yeah.
shitty. Because, like, we don't know. I don't know for sure. I'm just speculating right now.
Right. Yeah.
So that kind of, like, changed the
But
way.
sometimes you
Yeah.
need to put that video out there to recognize, like, oh, this made me feel kind of bad. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to
Yeah.
make this type of
Mm,
video
yeah.
anymore. That's what happened to me. Like, I think the video you're referring to was somebody just talking about how, like, giving a platform to these like negative conversations sort
Exactly.
of
Yeah.
fuel the conversation in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I had that realization last year when like there was like the female protagonist conversation happening with Ghost of Yote, and somebody
Ugh,
commented on one of my videos with something
Very
vile
that was
or
bad.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
that video. Yeah.
and I just like responded like I was reactive and I was like pissed off and like that whole interaction, it didn't make me feel good at all.
Yeah.
And even though, and then that video popped off, but it was only because like it was such a reactive thing to something so negative that it was just like this negativity snowball that just started like falling, and then nobody feels good when they're hit with it. Like, so yeah, I think, yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's like, I'm going to try not to do that kind of thing anymore. Sometimes it catches you on a bad day and then you're like, I'm just gonna do it, and then
Yeah,
you'll
and
figure
then
out
you
the same
regret, you
feeling
know.
again. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but
so
it's
there's no like perfect balance of like how much you're gonna do it, but I think generally if you can have the outlook of like most of the time, 99% of the time, this is not me, then you're
yeah,
good.
yeah. You're good. Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that was crazy. Some people they're just looking for anything at this
so
point, a reaction.
stupid.
It's
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
And it's I always find like it's okay, like we're critical of things. Like I thought
for
then
sure.
that video was okay to be critical of Nintendo to force maybe like people are using game key cards because Nintendo's only offering certain like file sizes on there. I thought that was fine. But yeah, whenever I see like people being like, this sucks, right? Because bad excuse, like
Yeah,
just basically any kind of bait to get you to comment to boost the videos. It's I feel
yeah,
like it comes up a lot more, and just like being, I guess, self-aware and just being like, I am not feeding into that.
yeah,
I'm gonna make
and
another video about Kirby, all right? And then
yeah, yeah, yeah,
moving on.
exactly.
So, yeah.
And like the critical side of things, like I also think sometimes I think being a good content creator is being able to be professionally and like responsibly critical of something. It
We've
comes
talked about
down
this
to,
too. Yeah.
yeah, it's like there's a way that you communicate respectfully to understand that lots of people worked on this thing, and there are a lot of people that are kind of caught in the crossfire. But what happened was shitty, and I'm allowed to critique it. Like that's a
Yeah.
yeah.
thing that is perfectly reasonable.
Mm.
But I think some people just don't understand, for that a lot of this stuff is subjective, that like it's your own feeling on something, and not everybody is going to have the same feeling as you, and you can't like affect everybody.
Mhm.
And b you know it's just not always productive.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It
And
might
it
be
takes
good.
a lot of like critical thinking and
Yeah,
understanding your way of communicating.
I think it goes the same way when people comment something stupid on your videos. My initial reaction was always like being snarky about it. You'd be like I don't know how to explain it, but I was like always being kind of petty in a way. And after that, I was
Yeah,
like, what the hell am I doing, bro? Like, just
yeah,
Yeah.
what the hell am I doing? Like, it's just I'm being petty right now. And like my
yeah,
girlfriend mentioned this to me. She was like, at some point, I just stopped caring. And she was like, I
yeah,
don't know how, because sometimes people say mean fucking things online, like
for
just
sure.
like they see
Yeah,
your 3 second viral like your viral hook, and then they're automatically reacting without listening to the rest of the
yeah,
video, and they say like mean things online, and I was just it didn't bother me. I thought it was funny, and I was just like liking the comments, like, hey, glad you watched the video, to like glad you commented, thank you for
yeah,
helping, just being like
yeah,
kind of make it funny, not
yeah,
like so yeah,
totally.
that's a hard thing to not get into, like just starting to argue with people online on your own video,
Yeah,
because everything is subjective, and you're not the voice of reason, you're not
yeah.
always right in a way, so
And sometimes the comment just hits you like right where it
oh
hurts.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
God.
You're like
I just want to send
uh,
something to,
yeah,
but
just to
then you
shut him
like
off,
check yourself.
yeah, you're like,
Yeah, yeah,
you know what, it's not worth it,
yeah.
no, I
Yeah,
get it, it happened, like
yeah,
I have a video on YouTube that is like popping off like crazy, and people are, oh my god, it's
yeah.
crazy, yeah.
That's
Sometimes I
awesome.
appreciate the creative ones. Like I just made a video talking about how Samsung really wants to make a switch to OLED right away. and
Mm.
someone commented, "I don't give 10 Fs. I'm not
That
buying
was
it."
funny.
And I was like, "He doesn't give 10. I'm
10,
not
yeah.
even mad, but
Yeah,
all
yeah.
right,
10?
yeah."
10.
So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I like when
That's
they get
crazy.
creative.
Yeah.
That's
Maybe
my
he
favorite
gives
part.
one though.
Yeah,
He
maybe
might
gives
give
one.
one,
Yeah.
Enough to
but-
comment on your video.
Yeah.
but he doesn't give 10.
Yeah.
He doesn't give
Which-
10.
With
10
such a
is
specific number,
too
I
much.
appreciate
Yeah.
that. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Rogan, we've taken up so much of your time,
Yeah.
but
This was
Ben and I
fun.
really
This flew past.
Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah. Like usually it's like an hour and a half, maybe. Now
Yeah.
it's like we're at the 2
At
hours.
the 2.5
Yeah,
almost.
2.5
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Yeah.
But we really appreciate you taking the time to
Yes.
talk with us. I hope people listening, maybe you learned something, maybe you
Yeah.
just had some fun. I know
Yeah.
Ben and I, we definitely learned
Yeah.
just about your process,
Yeah.
and I definitely learned a few things about that
Yeah.
I can't wait to use
Yeah.
for my own process. So
Yeah.
just before we let you go, do you want to let everyone know where they can find you on the TikTok, the Twitch, and the YouTube?
Yeah, I am at Rogan Plays Games on all three: TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. So
Nice.
those are that's it.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it.
And you can join my Discord if you guys want to talk about indie games.
We'll put we'll
gaming
put-
nonsense.
We'll put the link in the description for sure. Just send us your Discord.
Nice.
Make sure to
Yeah.
put it in. I just want to say if you're a part of Rogan's community, welcome. Thank you for watching. That's really appreciated. And yeah.
But yeah, we really appreciate it, man. We love your content. We love everything you do. So we really appreciate you doing this with us. So
Yeah.
thank you so
worries.
much for joining us.
Yeah.
We hope maybe in the future we can talk more indie games and stuff. So
Absolutely.
on behalf of us, thanks so much. And we
Thank
will
you.
see you guys all on the next one. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.